Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Start the prayer and cover some things before we start up this Skype. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Noble Ali.
Islam.
Welcome.
Islam.
We are at day number 4. Canaanland Moors, Moorish History Month lecture series. So far we've had Brother Grand Sheikh Nature Al Bey, Setan Ra Bey, Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey, and today we're going to be Skyping with the Moors in Mecca, Dawiyd Ali Il, Mentu Hotep Bey, and I think Aki Bey is supposed to be
Wow.
supposed to be with them too. The brother was just doing some Orisha work before he did the lecture, so should be pretty good. Should be interesting. We're gonna read one of the letters, articles by the Prophet. Prophet makes a plea to the nation. Our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the Prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That is why I am calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work I am doing to help this national government. For without a free national name, without a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a national divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers. So Noble Ali was straight constitutional. He didn't play with civil rights and none of that BS that people are pushing. Now, there was an article, Wednesday, February 11th, 2015. Once again, free newspaper just sitting there, anybody could go grab, that nobody grabs because, it's free. Nobody likes free stuff. Everybody likes to pay. So they had an article in here which was kind of interesting. We'll read the whole article just so we can dialogue on this a little bit. Vatican may be asked to repeal old papal edicts. Now, keep in mind that ever since Canaanland Moors made their presence known to these people, we've sent out newspapers, been in the news, all this type of stuff. Moors sending writs out, Moors claiming stuff, doing all types of things out here with regard to exercising their birthright. In the news, we noticed that there's a lot of things that pertain to Moors. Some of it might be secret because a lot of the information that is put out, it's put out from the perspective of saying everything but Moors to identify who they're talking about. You know what I mean? So they might not say anything but have a picture of a brother in a fez in the newspaper. Or they talk about, the Muslims of Spain. Or they talk about all these things relative to the Moors, but not mention
or Ottoman
Moors.
Empire.
Or Ottoman Empire, right? all these key words that they know the dumb public has no clue about what's going on, so they can do these things. And this is where it comes into Moors who claim that, well, what are we gonna do to whatever? How about decipher some of this info and get it out to the people so that they can have a clear perspective as to what they're reading, right? So the article goes as follows. Human rights. Many say Catholic decrees of 1455, right, we already know, and 1493 allowed for ill treatment of Aboriginal peoples. Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, just so we could write down those people, add them to your writs when you CC whoever, right? Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, oh yeah, and give thanks to Brother Omar for letting us know that yesterday was Canada's flag's birthday. And Canada's flag is 50 years old. Yeah, all right. Right. Canada's flag's 50 years old yesterday. And they've been around since 1867. And their flag is 50 years old. You don't do the math. Right? So Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission is weighing whether to ask the Vatican to repeal the papal bulls of discovery that granted 15th century explorers the right to conquer the New World and the heathen, quote-unquote, Aboriginals. Now we already know, during those times, we have the expulsion of the Moors in Spain, and we also have the edicts to kick the Moors out, and don't call them Moors anymore, call them everything else. Right? We also know that during that time, when they're talking about conquering the New World and all that, the wars that were going on in the world was the Orientals versus the Occidentals. Or the Romans versus the Moors. Or the Christians versus the Muslims. Right? Chair Murray St. Clair says the commission examining the impact of Canada's Indian residential schools is looking carefully at the 1455 and 1493 Catholic edicts as part of its final report. Many argue the proclamations legitimize the treatment of Aboriginal people as less than human. Crown sovereignty in Canada can be traced back to those papal bulls. Oh, right? And neither Canada nor the United States has repudiated them. A growing chorus in Canada is calling on the Vatican to help begin a new relationship with Aboriginal people on equal footing. The Discovery Bulls and others in the same vein that followed gave Catholic explorers full and free power, authority, and jurisdiction of every kind, and outlined their duty to lead the peoples dwelling in those islands and countries to embrace the Christian religion. If Aboriginal people refused, the Vatican granted its envoys the authority to enslave and kill. If the commission recommends the bulls be rescinded, Sinclair said, it has to weigh the legal implications, which could strike at the core of Crown sovereignty over land. Right? All those Moors out there want to claim land. Right? And then, second to that, all the Moors out there who want to claim property instead of just claiming the land and then get the property that's on it. Right? The United Nations appointed a special rapporteur in 2009 who found the bulls lie at the root of the violations of indigenous peoples' human rights. We've been, the Moors, active Moors, studious Moors, elder Moors, been schooling us about that perspective. That all these bulls, papal edicts and all these things, doctrine of discovery, all these things were specifically used to spearhead the violations of Aboriginal and indigenous people. The edicts have resulted in the mass appropriation of the lands, territories, and resources of indigenous people, the UN found. They also form the legal basis of many modern-day land claim disputes, it said. For Keith Matthew, former chief of SIMPCW, First Nation in British Columbia, it's about righting a historic wrong. Quote, I'm no animal. I'm a person, a human being, Matthew said. Right, and that was the Indian of the First Nation in British Columbia, former chief, Simp whatever.
Spell it again?
SIMPCW. Whatever.
Matthew?
Matthew, right?
Okay. But that's again coming from the perspective of Indians.
Right. You know.
So that again, that's still.
So again, it's still that fraud that they're pushing.
So they're sort of opening it up, but opening it up only from the fraudulent angle.
Right. Everybody is trying to make a claim now.
Right.
Right? Because they know that Moors are waking up.
The gig is up.
The real indigenous people are now making themselves known that they're really the ones, and the ones who's been pretending to be indigenous are running a fraud.
But I think it seems that they're still trying to acknowledge the fraud still.
Yeah, well, you know,
that's the only
that's the only way that the crown sovereignty
can even
exist. If these so-called Indians
are the ones
who are stepping up, saying, "Oh yeah, you guys, whatever like that," and they're making all these claims. But you go in their pocket, they got native tax card that they got from Indian Affairs people.
Living on the reserve.
Living on reserve when they could be out here with everybody else. But why you guys live on the reserve? Why don't you just come around the common people, right? Now, the Canada flag thing and this article tie in with this thing that I saw on Friday with this NBA All-Star crap going on this weekend. So these guys had a thing going on this weekend called US
versus the world.
You don't know either? I forgot myself.
Versus the world.
He just gets up, he's like, I gotta go. He's like, I didn't know that.
He's like, shoot, if I won't be here.
No, I gotta go. Wait, Cujo, wait, I'll be back in 1 minute.
Honest, I don't know what's going on.
Hey, God, you're not
Right?
the only one.
US versus the world. Where they got
Oh, shit.
all the US guys, on one team, it's the first time doing this new stuff, right? And then they have the world team, right? Now, it's real interesting. They got
say that Canada was on that team too? For some reason
they got Canada, right?
I don't know how the channel flipped onto that channel, but I saw, I think they mentioned Wiggins was gonna be
Yeah, right? So,
Canada.
they got Canada under the world part, right? Okay? And then
Wow.
and then Wiggins won MVP for that.
Oh, this was yesterday?
Yeah, Friday night.
Friday.
Right?
Okay.
So don't forget he's number one, right? Number one draft pick. Number one draft pick won the MVP in the us versus the world.
Really?
Because US is trying to make their claim, right? But because everybody knows that US is a fraud, they're going to use their little connection to Canada to make their good.
Well, no, but okay, but here's the thing. If it's North America,
Right?
and US, it's supposed to be USA.
North
Like-
America.
People they really can't see that.
Yeah. Right? I remember, US, all the tanks,
Yes.
army,
Yes.
military,
Navy. Like,
navy.
people can't see that is a fraud, US. And Canada's like North America.
Right. Okay, and then also too, don't forget that
know that.
United States Security and Exchange Commission 0000230098. That's the corporate number for Canada, which is part of the U.S, and the head office of Canada Corporation is in Washington, D.C.
Also, did you mention the fact that if U.S. versus the world, then what part of U.S., what part is
What part of the world is
U.S.?
U.S., right?
Because wouldn't the world technically include the U.S.?
Right. So they have no claim right now. Right? They have zero claim. Right, zero claim. Just like we said with the Heroes versus the Patriots for the football. And then the Heroes in the last play of the game didn't pass to the African, so he can score, so they'll win, and then get the Heroes win, right? So that the Patriots could have their little, you know what I mean, dance. US through Canada is still pushing their position, corporate position, right? Because if Canada is right above this, as if we're gonna say, okay, let's go with US. All right, Canada's above this, so this shouldn't be in the world side.
No.
Canada shouldn't be in the world side. And then also too, on the team there was only one more Canadian. Now he was injured, European, but you know you can't use him because he has no claim.
That's right.
Right, he's European. Even his last name isn't no Canadian name or whatever. Some Czechoslovakian name or something like that.
When they are referring to the world, are they referring to the corporate world or the nations of the earth?
Well, what they said was that there was 8 countries
Yeah,
or nations that were represented by the world.
by represented as the world.
So that's a G7 then.
So
Well,
more like
no,
yeah.
some-
It might not
I
necessarily
don't-
be the 7
Right.
countries, but the world is everybody. Okay, this is the only North American member,
Right.
right?
Everybody's from the
Everybody else is on the other side of the Atlantic.
But really, that's not true, because really Canada should be part of the other side,
Right.
Right,
is what you're saying.
right.
So that's
If it's the world, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
But Canada's not over there.
That's right.
Canada's over here with this.
That's right.
So it should have been
Part of that.
US/Canada
Canada versus the world.
versus the world.
But what you're really saying is that somehow what we really did was we really snuck over to the other side
Right.
and really playing for the other team.
Now, this also plays in part with Moors who want to contact Canaanland. Moors who are in the jurisdiction here can't call here because the service provider has this listed as international.
Wow.
Technicalities.
Moors in Northwest Amexem, can't call Canaanland because their service provider has Canada listed as an international country.
Well, what's interesting though is a lot of these companies now, if you know, well, especially over here,
Yeah.
you get a lot of them now that'll say U.S. and Canada calling for free.
For free.
Which is sort of then going the opposite way of putting us back into the same
Right,
jurisdiction,
in the
right? Because
jurisdiction.
why wouldn't it then be everyone for free?
Right.
Right? Because technically that's a border that you've crossed, and that makes it international.
Right. Right. Now, if the border is in the let's look at it on the other side. Right? If we go on the other side, could Egyptians call Iraq for free? is that international? Because there's a border there that's separating them.
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Could people in Scotland call people in England?
Right.
Same region.
It's the same jurisdiction. Are they listed as international? Why are they only doing that over here?
Mm.
Because the colony, the crown jurisdiction is losing power. And they need to do everything that they can to get some, any way that they can get it. And this is only happening because of Moors. It's only happening because Moors are speaking up,
Finally.
right? And it was real interesting that the #1 draft pick that we know Canada's in North America and US is in North America, right? That he won the MVP for that. And it was just one of those things that just came up just like the football stuff. So continue to work more, is good job. You know what I mean? These people are on the run right now. And they're on the run for real because the international community isn't buying the BS. You know? It's not something that they can prevent. And then also too, remember that Shaq, who came out openly, say he's a Mason and all that stuff, showing off his ring on TV and all that, he was one of the people who made these teams up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, him and Charles Barkley, who was another one that's been in the news lately, right? Okay, and they had this whole like league thing set up. You know, where they select teams or whatever, all the assistant coaches pick players and then they put them in a pool and then they have like a make teams and all that stuff in order to push their little fraud that they're running.
Well, I know you probably have to get to the Skype, but one of the things I've realized, because I used to watch a lot of basketball, is that I think come the end of like sort of, you know, back, I think we'll all remember Larry Bird Magic, right?
Right.
That's when the league was ripe with players, right? As it started to get watered down, the Jordan era was sort of the end, and then the Kobe era
Right.
was pretty much the end of everything,
Yeah.
right? LeBron came along.
Yeah, that was the new corporate. The corporate era started with LeBron.
That was pretty much
yeah.
the end of it, right? Now remember, what you realize too is, as sort of I think the divine nature of everything starts to come through, what you've realized is this huge cash cow that they used to sort of have, which
Right.
is keeping everyone busy and our warriors sort of distracted.
Yeah.
That started to erode.
Right.
And then what happened, as you notice, they stopped giving the players the length of time that it would take them to mature properly.
Right.
So now
Right.
you started pulling guys out of
Pulling
high
guys out
school.
of high school and
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So that was Kobe,
Right.
and now LeBron.
Yeah.
And what you've now noticed is there's no one left now. And so what's happened is, and what I noticed was, because I started to think about it, they used to always have the Europeans talking about it, like the
Yeah.
coaches and all the analyzers were always
Right.
European. But what did they now do? They now got their boys up there.
Right.
Shaq, they got
Right.
Barkley,
Kenny,
they got
and-
Kenny,
yeah, yeah.
they got, who's the other one on the other side? Chris Webber, and they
Webber,
got
Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller, they're boys.
Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah,
are their
yeah.
hand-picked
Right,
sort
right,
of boys that they have.
They're selected.
They're smiling yes men
Yeah.
who are gonna toe the company line.
Right.
Right?
And
No, it's not
we still
nothing
play
but-
ball and we still, watch highlights and stuff like that.
No,
It's
but
not,
what,
yeah,
and
you gotta analyze
this is why I think even things have changed, because as I said, I perused a little bit of it, of things have changed even so much in sort of like what the All-Star Weekend,
Yeah, what it used to be.
what's going on with
Yeah,
it now,
yeah.
right?
Even that celebrity.
Celebrity,
game,
so they have the celebrity
game,
game with Dominique Wilkins,
Yeah. Oh, and then speaking about that too, the celebrity game, Kevin Hart won
Right,
stuff.
right.
And then he's going on tour soon.
Right.
He's going to be doing his tour around America or whatever like that.
So it's all-
logically, you know, who else is going to win this stuff?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Why not set it up so that this guy can win because he's going on tour soon?
That's
Ain't
right.
nobody else on there.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That
And you know, it's interesting you mentioned that because what I've realized now is because things have started to erode so much so that, you know, you've now noticed you'll have singers who become actors, right?
Right.
And actors who or athletes who become actors.
Mm.
It's because the whole talent pool has become eroded. So they're now accessing people who have popularity versus people who have talent, right? To keep the sort of fraud going.
Well,
Yep.
I don't think any of them have any talent, but that's just my
Well,
opinion.
no, but they still have to keep the machine going.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like they can't, like it just can't be. Oh, sorry, we've got to reload. No,
Yeah.
No.
you've got to just keep
Just
putting.
gotta
fa-
keep-
you got to keep putting faces up there, right?
Right.
So the faces get connected. Oh,
Yeah.
he was a basketball star, so now I'm going to watch him here because
Yeah.
I was watching him there.
Right.
So that's where you start seeing the connection, and that's what's happened too with even as I was talking to you about the analyzers. Now they've got Shaq and Barkley, who you used to watch and used to look up to.
Right. Now they're in the next seat.
Now they're that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that way people
And you're
can.
noticing this too with the coaches. Even if you take the next step too, the coaches now used to be these Europeans.
Yeah.
Now most of them are players now
Right, right.
because
Yeah.
because the thing is starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
Right?
And as it falls apart, all they can do is damage control.
That's right.
They can't really, like you're saying, they can't scrap the whole thing.
That's right. It's too big
Too
to fail.
far.
It's
you
too
know,
big
too
to fail.
big to
To just
you know what I mean,
crumble.
just crumble.
Right.
You know, and I wish these guys would just start their own league and
That's
stop
right.
the crap. You know what I mean? You had some question, bro, that you wanted to ask.
Yeah.
We could address couple questions.
I was just reading the Clock of Destiny, and then I went a little bit further, and I stumbled upon the college online. The question is the college like similar to what we have with the temple as far as going through, like, because I noticed they have lessons.
College as far as what?
As far as
Clock, you mean?
yeah, the Clock of Destiny,
yeah.
the adept lesson, adept chamber, and so on and so forth. So they have some sort of a system. So I was just wondering if this was any way connected to us, or is it another avenue that we have that we can go study from?
It's another avenue.
Okay.
Is that okay?
It's all more.
Yeah.
Sorry about
It's all
sorry about the delay.
No worries. We're just doing a little intro. I'm gonna just keep you on for a couple minutes.
Go ahead, do your thing. Give us a minute to let me collect all the books I'm gonna use. I'll bring you back in a minute.
No, you can stay on if you can stay on if you want.
All right, let me mute it then.
All right.
Yeah, it's just another avenue of studies.
Okay.
Because you have to realize, as I said, and I think I told you this a long time ago, is that there is so much information out there. Everything you need to study.
Right.
Because
right.
everything is based on science.
Right.
Main thing that we are studying is jurisprudence.
Right.
Science of positive law.
Right.
So obviously there's going to be some negative law out there. So you got to go study on that. You got to go study on your math. You got to go study on your astrology,
Right. Right.
your psychology,
Right.
and your philosophy. Everything that is out there to study on, study it.
Right.
Because it all comes back to you.
So don't discriminate. Just pretty
Do
much
not
have
dis-
your filters on.
Do
where
not
Exactly.
discriminate.
you know what's
Filters.
up. Right.
That's the key.
Mhm.
Because even with clock,
Yes.
there's discrepancies.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Super discrepancies.
Yes.
Because CMB set it up that, you know, because of the sellout that happened in the temple, he set up clocks so that you can get all the same stuff that they were hiding in the temple. You
okay.
can get your nationality card from Clock of Destiny.
Right.
Mhm.
You get the CMB lessons,
Yes.
which is gonna lead you to more information,
Right. Right.
right? But when you hear people talking about, oh yeah, you know, we got, you know, Clock of Destiny University,
Right.
you know, $300 come
Right.
register and stuff
Right.
like that, you already know that
There's a-
that something's up.
Right.
Because you can go to the Library of Congress and get all CMB stuff for free.
Mhm.
But they're not going there.
Right. Right. Right.
They're not telling people go there.
Right.
They're telling come to our university or whatever.
Right.
You know, sign up to our stuff. When that was really done to halt people from getting the information,
Right. So it was a deterrent.
right?
Interesting.
Because there's we'll just to intro these Moors, right? These are the Moors who we got our charter from, right? To establish out here what wasn't out here. And they didn't play the game of, you know, well, because we gave you the charter, you know, call us every week, you know what I mean? We need an update of what's going on up there and all that stuff like that. They gave us all the stuff and said, go do whatever you're supposed to do.
Right.
Make sure you study all whatever that you're supposed to study so that you're clear as to what it is that you're getting yourself involved in, because, you know, they knew more about what this was about, why they gave us charter and all that before we even looked up charter and know what a charter was.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had a charter not knowing what a charter was.
Right.
We just looked at it like, okay, they gave us some, you know,
So
we'll
it's
just go to Toronto and be Moors.
So
You know?
that's self-initiation.
Yeah.
Without realizing
Yeah.
that you were being initiated.
And it literally was that. You know what I mean? But it wasn't initiation of them putting us on. It was initiation of
internal.
you go find yourself. Because, you know, when we sat down, we had the building session, and we talking to them about all the stuff that we know or whatever like that, and all the people that we study from, all these different schools of thought that we've been into. They're like, it's already, I can't tell you guys nothing. There's nothing that we can really teach you, but you know everything already. You've been studying from all these people all these years or whatever, then you guys been doing lectures and all that stuff out there for all these years. You guys had libraries and all that. You guys had classes. You guys had programs doing stuff for youth and all this type of stuff. We don't need to tell you nothing. All we need to do is tell you that you're Moors. Here's a charter. Here's all the information that you need. They gave us a junk drive with all the writs on it that we need for whatever. They gave us whatever DVDs, all Noble Jawali's literature. They gave us, you know, Nature Bay's number, Sister Ra's number, Taj number, Jabbar's number, whoever, any Moors that you see us Skype with, affiliate with, or whatever, is because these Moors put us onto them. For us to learn, for us to get out of the mentality that, you know, Europeans gonna get you something or give you something because, you know, they owe you all the stuff they did to you or whatever like that. Forget that crap, because they don't have any authority over here anyways to give you anything. So go out there, claim what has to get claimed.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And again, they didn't play like how Moors, like a lot of Moors that we engaged with after we connected with them were pulling the rank thing with us.
Boss hog.
Right? Boss hog. Right? They were pulling those ones. Moors who are out there right now that people want to go log on to their stuff, you know, university websites and all that stuff, you know, those guys are the Moors to study from. They got the info from the whatever. All those people came at us on some, oh, there's Moors out there. Well, yo, you know, you need to get down with us because we're the Moors that did the whatever, and, you know, we got this filed in the whatever, and then we filed this over here, and, you know what I mean? We're the authority of Moors. Those guys aren't really whatever, you know what I mean? Not knowing that, you know, it was out of really it was really a unison of sincerity, because real recognize real, regardless of fez, no fez, button, are you a Moor, aren't you a Moor, whatever like that, real recognize real. You know, that's why we can talk how we talk, because we got schooled early. We knew about FBI papers and all that stuff from these Moors. They laid out everything. They didn't hold back any secrets. They didn't play like, yeah, you know, they are the authority over us because they gave us something. They said, here, take the stuff, go back over there, continue doing what you're doing, but just do it as Moors now. And exactly what we did. Didn't come off the line. The reason why, you know, so what, 7, 8 years later, right? I'm still here. There's people who were down with this from back then. They're not down with this no more. They jumped off this. Like literally jumped off this. Whether it was they're not ready or they're dirty or whatever is irrelevant. Point is, they should be here still. You know what I mean? Right? There's maybe from initially there's maybe like 3 out of 10 people that's still on this.
Wow. That's
Like still on it, like, you know what I mean? You might not see them around or whatever, but they're on it.
Right, right.
When they get tickets, they don't go pay. They go court fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they CRA sends them something, they don't go pay. They write writs, fight. You know? Because it's just, you know, real recognized real. And we've always taken the position of really holding these Moors in high regard even after people talk shit about them. Tell us that they're dirty. Well, why are you following them? They did this and they did that and they did whatever. But, you know,
I'm following them.
what we're not followers. We're not following nobody. You know what I mean? The perspective is, you know, well, because they gave us charter, you know, well, we're under them like, you know what I mean, some lapdogs or whatever. That's not what this is. This is self-sufficiency. You know what I mean? This is be what you know. Right? You know what Dawiyd told the board. Sheiks are born, not made. So these Moors can't make us nothing that we're not that already.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's impossible. But that's the position that Moors take. You know what I mean? Moors that are trying to swindle people, get people to do stuff that, you know, get down with things, you know, just like we're saying. Even with Clock. You know what I mean? We had conversations with Clock. You know what I mean? We were supposed to be a branch, we were supposed to be the Canaanland branch of Clock of Destiny. Until we found out, you know, that, you know, you have to wear a red tie and stuff like that. What do you mean? What do you mean? What does a red tie have to do? Well, you know, the protocol of the stuff and, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? So, you know, you have to make sure that you have the red tie because the red tie, and then it'll lead you to the blue tie and the orange tie. And then when you get all the ties, then now you're official.
Interesting.
Really? That's not what I heard. Because, you know, I went to Library of Congress or whatever. I called them up. They told me that stuff in the Library of Congress got moved.
Interesting.
Library of Congress told me. The lady at Library of Congress told me, well, I don't know who did it, but the stuff's supposed to be right there and it's not there.
And that's
It's somewhere else.
CMB put.
Everything CMB put in the Library of Congress isn't where CMB put it. It's somewhere else in the Library of Congress that they don't even know where it is.
Interesting.
Man, no time to go look for that. That place is huge.
Right? They don't even know where it is. And then that's across the board with everything. Right? There's Moors right now who, you know, they want to start a Moor science temple. But, you know, some Moor told them, well, you know, in order for you to be Moor science temple, you know, you have to start a study group. You know what I mean? And then when you start a study group, and then you prove yourself in a study group, and then we're going to give you a warrant of authority before, you know, and then you prove yourself as that, and then we're going to give you a whatever, and then we give you this, and then we give you a charter. And Moors waiting 10 years to get a charter. When in Noble Dawiyd's own stuff, he said, anybody wants a charter, just come ask for it, we give you a charter, you start a temple. Just like how these Moors did with us. Oh, you guys are for real about this? Yeah, you know, whatever. Give you a little test. Oh, yeah, you know, here's a charter. Go be Moors. Go represent Moor Science Temple. Because that's what it's supposed to be. And 95% of Moors threw Noble Dawiyd under the bus. And 5% of Moors, including CMB, these Moors, Grand Chief Nature, Sister Raz, Taj, everybody else who we, us, you know, Brother Jabbar, Indiana, Brother Jelani, South Carolina. Certain Moors kept the principles of what this is and didn't make it a retirement fund or whatever.
Right.
gave the people their stuff that Noble Drew Ali, CMB, everybody else wanted the people to have. You know? So, these Moors here, we hold like, you know what I mean? We take bullets for these Moors. Because it's that real. From when and also too, these were the only, you have to also mention Richard Neal Bey. Because that's the initial Moor that said, why don't you just, I talked to the Grand Sheikh or whatever, why don't you just come check the stuff out for yourself? Forget about the message back and forth and I send you information and send you pictures and send you this and that about Noble Drew Ali. How about you come check the stuff out for yourself, see if it's legit? When all these other Moors were talking about, oh well, you know, give you this today, next week we'll give you this, 3 weeks later we'll give you this, and then right, you play games.
Right.
The only Moors, and I'm talking about hundreds of Moors, because that time it was MySpace.
Yes.
It was MySpace that was Black Planet and all those stuff that was busting the dance as far as social media, right? And ample amounts of Moors we talked to on MySpace, ample amounts, and no Moors invited us to come check the temple. Every Moor is talking about sell stuff and buy stuff and whatever like that. Only Moor said, yo, come check it out. Like, it's kind of interesting that of all these Moors out here, only these Moors said, come check it out for ourselves.
Should have been everybody.
Should have been everybody saying, yo, come check the temple. You know, we got temple everywhere. And they got temples too. It's not like they didn't have temples. They had temples. But they were playing noose around people. Leash on people. When it's not their stuff to do that. Noble Drew Ali laid all this down. You can't take somebody else's stuff front like it's yours. Right? You know what I mean? It's just like what we say with the info. It's not, you know, like people say lecture, and then you have lectures, the lecturer wants, you know, hotel, you know, you can pick up at the airport, you know what I mean?
A couple of bottles in his
bottles of whatever in this room, you know what I mean? New briefs, all this type of stuff, when that's not what's supposed to be going on, it's information.
Right.
You're just supposed to get the people there, and if you have something, product or service, you sell that. That's it. Product or service only supposed to be sold. And product be better something that you made. Not something somebody else and then, you know what I mean? To make a living off of. Right? So
I think he went down there. I think
Oh,
he
he
may
went
have been
down.
sitting there. I couldn't see from the angle of the screen, but he may have been sitting there for a minute.
okay. It looks like that. Okay, look all that.
Yeah.
Right? So and then that's what we try to instill on the Moors. That, you know what I mean? Go out there, build with Moors. You're not holding back people from getting info or whatever. We hope you go out there and find some Moors that got some, you know, click your heels twice and let's astral project and stuff like that. So, because we never found them, you know what I mean? So hopefully, you know, Moors take this on that level, just like what you're doing, you know, researching, oh, there's a university here, okay, I'll get some info from there. Go over here, get some info, bring it back, go through the info, share the info, blah, and
But like
keep
you're saying
building.
though, be wary if they start telling you $100 for this, $200 for
Right.
that. When you get there and you find out that same information we could have given you,
Right, for free. Yeah, don't talk about 100. I got this for 100. Well, yo, we got Clock of Destiny right there. Like, okay, $100.
That's what I've been reading. That's what I've been reading.
don't come back and be upset.
Right.
Right.
No, but it makes sense. And to add to that, I was watching one of the Canadian Heritage Moments. And I don't know if you guys seen the one where they have the natives, the quote unquote natives. One has a fez and a white turban around his fez, and at the end, because they're going through the forest, and at the end of the commercial, something like some light went across, and there was a crescent and a moon, just cutting across.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I'm like, they're showing you the fez, they're showing you the natives, and then as soon as the thing ends, with faith, and you see the crescent and the moon. So I don't know if you guys ever paid attention to that, but pay attention to the Canadian heritage. They're like subtly giving us a
93rd Conroe.
it's really real.
Here's something to go check out.
Peace. My battery down. Sorry, I had to plug up.
No,
What do you think?
I'll give it to you. Actually, I'm going to email it to everybody, but there's something called a Handbook of North American Indians, volume number 15. Now, this book is on a government website. When you go to page 290, it says in there, among the reputed ancestors of the Aboriginal American Indian population, i.e. natives, are the Moors and the Turks. This is a book that is on a government archive website.
So they have the documents.
They have the
It's just
documents.
because it's funny. It's like one of the things I read off CMB stuff saying that all the major universities have like they have the
They have-
information.
Yeah.
Like it's there.
There.
But because of them registering or being registered
Under the crown.
under the crown, the democracy,
Right.
they're not telling.
No.
That's why we tell people go to the library.
Right.
Don't go online. You could use online, but hit the library up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And get the actual hard copy.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, library, they might not let you take the book out, but you photocopy stuff all day.
Right.
It's funny thing you say that. I went to the library, the resort center downtown,
Yeah,
and they have a room of books from like the 16, 17, and 1800, not allowed to leave the library.
right.
Not even allowed to leave that room.
Right,
I said, how long has this room been here? Said, well, ever since the library's
Yeah.
been here.
Is that Robat? U of T?
No, well,
Oh,
no,
the reference library?
Reference library
Yeah,
downtown, the big one down by Bloor
By
Street.
blowing you up. Really?
I was like, this is when I started doing my studies. I was like, this room here? She's like, yeah, this is only for people that really, really study.
Yeah.
So it's like serious research.
Serious
Yeah,
research.
real researchers, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
Which
had
is-
all the old books,
yeah.
literally. And I was in there just, I couldn't leave. She's like, okay, it's time to close. I said, can I stay a little longer? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all libraries are gonna have all those books. Definitely. Check it out, man.
No. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or anything like that? It's good. Well,
All right.
it's about that time right now. We got Dawiyd Ali L and Brother Mentu Hotep Bey. And like we said, these are the Moors that there wouldn't be Canaanland if it wasn't for these Moors right here.
Islam.
These Moors didn't say, we recognize something and you guys and whatever, go do your stuff that you gotta do. We'll still be probably Negro, black, colored, you know what I mean, African, whatever, you know what I mean, or on this information but not really on it,
Right.
like how we're on it right now, you know what I mean. So we give it up for the Moors, and they got free reign. You got free reign to do your thing,
All right,
Moors.
family, can y'all hear us?
Yeah, we can hear y'all. 1 sec. Let's put some-
Okay, give me 2 seconds.
No problem. If anybody got questions, you can just come up and ask your questions.
All right, family. Okay, I just take care of some house cleaning business. Put my phone on vibrate and stuff.
We'll hit that light.
Hit the-
Okay.
Floor is yours, Mark.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Well, first I rise, giving honor and praise to the Hospital West Island, sustainer of all the boundless universes, to the illustrious prophet of Ali, who came in these days and times, teaching the Moors to be themselves. And the Moors that fell into the grave of Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian, African American, or any of the other names of the pale-skinned nations of you choose to place upon the Moors. We know these are very simply misnomers, and that these are not the names or the titles that belong to the Moors. Son?
Islam.
First we rise giving honor to our flag, the Moorish flag, the red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center, representing the 5 highest principles that are known to man, that is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And to the banner of amity, trade, and commerce, the banner that protects us in our infancy and protected us in our infancy, but the banner that owes the Moors and owes us in compound interest. As well, I'd like to acknowledge the forerunner of the prophet, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who was the voice crying in the wilderness, who preceded the great prophet Noble Drawley, our illustrious prophet, who heralded the coming of a nation, heralded the building of a huge infrastructure for the Moors in America as well as throughout the diaspora. To our illustrious prophet, Noble Drawley, who came kicking over the graves of Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian, African American, we have to acknowledge him first, because he, in my opinion, and again, it's my opinion, and opinion is no proof of truth, is the greatest of our leaders to have come and made the heralding for us to return back to our own vine and fig tree. Islam?
Islam.
All right, today, Moors, I'm going to give the before we jump into it, give the National Guard Secretary an opportunity to say something if you choose to. It's the not only the National Grand Secretary, but as well the Chief of Staff here for the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Divine National Movement. If he'd like to say something first.
I'm just grateful that we get to speak to the Canaanland Moors every now and then through Skype. We know that you guys have been doing illustrious works, and we give gratitude and appreciation to everything that you contribute to the movement. Dawiyd is going to probably do most of the talking because he's going to do a lecture today, and I'll probably chime in every now and then with some information that I may have to contribute. But I'm glad that we get to do this for the Canaanland Moors today. Islam?
Islam.
All right, family, we're going to jump right into it. Cujo, is there a way that you could turn the camera so I can see the people or no?
Oh yeah, it's just that the lights are off, but...
No. I mean, like, lower it down. It's like shooting up at the ceiling.
Oh.
Can you look? Like, there we go. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's better. All right, family. How's the weather?
Oh, yes.
Minus 40.
Minus
40.
Man, please, man. Yesterday it was like 6 degrees, so it's like, if I ruled the world, in which we do, I would have all of us be sitting in a place where it was 70 or 80 degrees today. So I just want to let y'all know that. All right, we're going to talk about the conspiracy to usurp the authority and the power of the Moors. Okay, we're going to speak about that, and that way we can get it cracking. Okay, how many people know that? Raise your hand if you know that to be a consciousness of being a Moor was being hidden from us.
Sorry, ask that question again.
Well,
Ask the question again, Dawiyd.
How many people know of a surety that being a Moor and or being conscious of Moorish, our Moorish origins have been hidden from us?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Understood.
Right. Oh, there we go. Now every hand in the room went up. Noble Drawley was the one who came and really exposed it to us. But again, Noble Drawley was not the first person to talk about our origins. You know what? If you look in the room for me, there's a book called The Negro, Islam, and Christianity. It's a black and white book by It's on your show? Yes, it's on the show. Okay. I'm sorry, Morris. There's a book I forgot. If y'all can see, I got tons of stuff. Hopefully, we can get into some of the things that I got here for us. We got tons and tons and tons of references and resources for us to get into, so I can really show you the conspiracy of it all, and then we can begin to expose it. Because it's not enough to just know that there was a conspiracy and to do nothing about the conspiracy. That makes no sense. How many people are familiar with an author by the name of Stanley Lane Poole? Raise your hand. No. Okay, good. Stanley Lane Poole wrote a few books on the history of the Moors. One of them is called The Story of the Moors in Spain, right? As well, how many people are familiar with the book The Golden Age of the Moors, that red book?
Yes.
Okay. All right. For those who don't have it, these are books that should be in your library because these books will reward your research, as Malcolm would say. But one of the things I want to say first is that there have been many historical documents and books written on who the Moors are, who the Moors were, and there are a lot of things that have been extracted from history. Unfortunately, if I may borrow this from Brother Bobby Hemmett, he said that we are victims of ancient historical editing, which means that someone has actually extracted the flavor from the soup. You know, I mean, we got a good bowl of dal, but it don't taste like nothing. Okay? So that's what history, the history of the Moors has become tasteless because they've extracted the most important part of it, not only the flavor, but the nutrition from it. Okay, so that's why it's important for those Moors from the 3rd and 4th generation to come back and add the flavor and the spice to the soup. Y'all with me?
We're with you.
Okay, good. Yep. One of the things that I want to talk about, and this is another good book, the brother just went and got it. If you don't have this, this is a good one. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Y'all got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's Christianity, Islam, and the Negro Race by Edward W. Blyden. And it's probably one of the most profound books I've ever read because at the time period in which it was written, you know, most people were just up from European servitude and slavery. I mean, the book was first published in 1888. What year was Noble Dryly born?
86.
86.
Right, so that meant that Edward W. Blyden already knew about Islam. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so the information in here is very, very powerful. You know, that's why Garvey was able to reach. I got a really good book about Marcus Garvey in my library over there. It's called A Negro in a Hat. How many people are familiar with the book on Garvey called A Negro in a Hat?
Nope.
No.
Okay. It's a very, very, very good book. It's kind of thick. It's a black book. It's probably at the bottom. It might be on the middle shelf. But we're going to talk about Garvey as well and his vision for us in the West. Okay. But first, let me show a little bit of the conspiracy. How's that?
Islam.
All right. Now, let's talk about Stanley Lane Poole. Everybody in the room, except for maybe one person, said they're familiar with this book. Now, what is it distinctive about this book that you recognize?
Oh, show me the picture.
The picture.
The picture?
Okay, what else? Look at the verbiage. What's the title of the book?
Moors in Spain. Oh, the Moors in Spain.
All right, the book was published by Black Classic Press. Is a publishing company out of Baltimore, Maryland. All right, and the book was first published in 1978. All right, republished. The first publishing of the book was in 1886. Wow. What year was Noble Dryly born?
1886.
1886.
All right, cool. Now here's another printing of a book called. What's this book called?
The
Muslims in Spain.
Who's the author?
Stanley Lane Poole.
Okay, cool. I'm going to read the first page. How's that?
Sure.
The story of the Moors in Spain. When armies of Alexander the Greek were trampling upon the ancient empires of the East. I'm going to stop. When the armies of Alexander the Greek were trampling upon the ancient empires of the East, What is it that you recognize about these two things? How many people, is anybody in the video ever been in Chicago or somewhere where they have PBS, Channel 11?
No.
Okay, you probably haven't. PBS is like public TV here. And this is where they put all the children programs on, like Sesame Street, where you get Big Bird and,
Right.
you know, the Electric Company and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Now, they got like a segment that they would do called One of These Things Is Not the Same.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about to do right now. Which one of these things is not the same?
Yeah, Muslims in Spain.
But the verbiage is the same from the beginning to the end. Why does this one say the Muslims in Spain, but this one says the Moors in Spain?
Speaking about
The same editing that you're talking about.
Absolutely. There we go. Grand Sheik, what they did was, this one was published in New Delhi by the Indians. They are attempting to hide and usurp the history and the birthright of the Moors. Where does that say the book was published?
New Delhi.
Why did they change the title of the book? What are you trying to hide? The great pharaoh, the last pharaoh of the Nile, we refer to him as the great historian, Sheikh Anta Diop. The great Sheikh Anta Diop, in his book, The Cultural Unity of Black Africa, one of my favorite books. How many people in the room heard of Sheikh Anta Diop?
Yeah.
How many people have seen the book, The Cultural Unity of Black Africa? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what it talked about. In my humble opinion, the cultural unity of Black Africa is probably where a lot of the teachings about the origins of the European may have derived. Inside of the cultural unity of Black Africa, he talks about something called the two cradle theory, where he describes why African phenotypes and European phenotypes are the way that they are. And I use the word African with no disrespect, because inside of the Circle 7, the Prophet Dawiyd said that there's still much wisdom to be learned from the descendants of
Africa.
Africa. All right, good. All right, so, because I don't want to get into a long debate. Sometimes you can argue with Moors if you use the term African, and they'll start arguing with you, All right, so, I say all that to say, in Diop's book, he talks about how there were women who ruled what is called Eritrea, what's called the Middle East today, Saudi Arabia, Yemen. All of that was called Arabia Felix, or El Gur at one time, okay, or the Hijaz. All of that was ruled by women who were called the Candaces, all right? Now, these women were direct descendants of, according to those who have a religious view of history, the Queen of Sheba, Makeda, or are direct descendants of Hatshepsut, the female pharaoh of ancient Kemet. Okay? All of that was under her protectorate in that specific province. It said in Diop's book that the Prophet Muhammad, the great Prophet Muhammad of Arabia, is of African descent. While the Arab world, unfortunately, tries to portray the Prophet Muhammad as a European. All right? Now, for a long time, there was very few people who were saying that the Prophet Muhammad had an African phenotype, or was Asiatic or Moor. But in the 10th century, there was a scholar named Ibn al-Jahiz who wrote a book, and it's called The Glory in Arabic. All right? It's called The Glory of the Black Race over the White Race. Okay? And he was a Muslim scholar in the 10th century who wrote books on herbs and medicine and zoology. I mean, this is in the 10th century now, of course. And he talked in his book in detail about how the Prophet Muhammad is the descendant of 10 dark lords. That's his exact verbiage. Okay? Now, we're talking about in the 10th century. So what I'm saying is that even in our holy lands, even in what is present day Mecca, or anciently called Becca, even that place is being usurped by people who are invaders, who are not the original people. Wherever we look, the Aboriginal indigenous people are being displaced. Y'all with me, Moors?
Yeah, we're here, Martin.
Okay, good. Are there any questions so far?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. All right, so inside of what Stanley Lampool is saying, there's a beautiful story of what the Moors have done. But in this, they attempt to eradicate any history of the Moors, which is amazing. How can you erase 800 years of history? The great elder, the great august elder, Taj Tariq Bey said one time that there was a system under the in 1863 or 1865 that was called Lex Prohibitum, where they began to rewrite or reconstruct history. Anybody else familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that is some of the most sound, strong, and profound information, especially when you understand the battle between the Moors and the European nations, the battle of Tours, the battle of Poitiers, and I mean there's a long history of battle between the Moors and the European nations. The interesting thing is that if you go to Pope Alfonso V, anybody familiar with the papal bull from Alfonso V?
No.
The papal bull from Alfonso V talks about how the Moors would be usurped wherever we were found, that they would do war against us. This is where the legal doctrine of discovery derived itself. Anybody familiar with the doctrine of discovery?
Yes.
Say that again?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anybody familiar with this book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, good. Well, let's look and see what it says about the doctrine of discovery.
Ask that question.
Just to come back off of what the Sheikh was saying, for centuries, they've been trying to eliminate our history, because if you do not have a history, you're deemed to not have a future as well, because you don't get to see the true regality and royalty of your people, so you don't think that you're worth as much as you are worth. So that's why we see in today's society, we see the young girls and the young men, they're in detriment. All you see them doing is twerking and causing fights with one another, and we see this in social media more so than anything else, where they don't even hold each other with respect. So when it comes to like the pigs and everybody else that deems us unworthy, when they kill us in the streets, nobody does anything because they think that it's the correct way to operate when it comes to us. So we have to make sure that we continue to do what we need to do to stay bound together so that we can fight against this injustice.
Islam.
Islam. The doctrine of discovery. First, let's pick the word apart. What does the word doctrine mean? Doctrine, a rule or principle. So that means something that's practiced on a regular basis, correct?
Islam.
Yeah. Theory or tenet of law, as the doctrine of merger, the doctrine of relations, the doctrine of discovery. What does discovery mean? In the general sense, the ascertainment of what or which was previously unknown. That's like me. What's the address where y'all are right now? What's your location?
2533. Eglinton
That's like
Avenue West.
moving in from where I am to where you are. Just moving in. You already have a physical address. There are people in the room already. I see you got books on the wall. You got a lock on the door. You got a key. Everything. You got a bathroom. Everything's in place. But I move in and say, this is nice. I would like the wallpaper. And I just start moving my stuff in. This is the doctrine of discovery. And it's simply about continuing an agenda to expand the Holy Roman Empire. Right? Y'all with me?
Yeah, boy.
Okay, good. The disclosure or coming to light of what was previously hidden. Let me read it again. The disclosure or coming to light of what was previously hidden. If I'm saying that your bookstore was previously, the temple was previously hidden, and I moved in because of that, it's not denying the existence of the original building. It's saying that I didn't know about it. In my opinion, it's a superior opinion. You follow what I'm saying, Morris?
Right.
Okay. The action of notice or knowledge given, acts or facts as in regards to the discovery of fraud affecting the running of the statutes of limitation. I've been saying since forever that fraud, according to commercial law and code, is not a crime. It's legal if not challenged. Y'all follow me?
Yeah.
So you never stand up. That's why it says in Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. We are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. They may know they are part and parcel of this said government. And know they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779, lasting until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this, Noble Dwyer said, is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name, be recognized by the governments in which they live and the nations of the earth. Noble Dwyer laid it out so plain. He never even said we were slaves. He said these are names that were given to slaves by slaveholders. That's separating you from being the entity and acknowledging the fact that another force labeled you something that you are not. All right? All right. In regards to the discovery of fraud affecting the running of the statutes of limitation, or granting of a new trial for newly discovered evidence. What does discover mean? To uncover that which was hidden, concealed, or unknown from everyone else. Now, when they came to the Western Shores, well, they actually never even came to here. But when they attempted to come to the Western Shores, they proclaimed, they stuck their flag in the ground and said, this new land belongs to the crown. I'm delivering this back. That's why the original name of the island that is Cuba today, they refer to it as Isabella then. And the interesting thing about the name Cuba is that word Cuba is actually a word of Congo origin. It comes from our Congo brothers, the brothers of the Congolese country, the Bantu-speaking people. And guess what? The island is full of Bantu, people who can claim Bantu origin and even have remnants of Bantu ceremony, Congo language, even the phenotypes of a lot of the people who are there in the land, our people, can be traced to the Congo. Now, another good book is anything written by J.A. Rogers.
Yes.
That's The 5 Negro Presidents, Nature Knows No Colorland 1 and 2, Sex and Race 1 and 2, Africa Gift to America 1 and 2. These are These are the books that can be used for our liberation. First, we have to re-educate ourselves. After the re-education, then the nation building portion starts. Why the European powers were so effective is because they stopped and let the Roman nations begin to educate them. When they were all just a bunch of warring Indo-Germanic tribes who aligned with Charlemagne to attempt to conquer the Moors. Well, Charlemagne did a pretty good job of usurping and murdering the Moors. Charles Martel, Charlemagne. They went to war, and they did all they could to destroy, to wipe the Moors from the face of the earth. Okay? So we can't forget these things. Like the Jews say, you know, never again.
Islam,
Okay? Islam.
you said the re-education has to happen first.
Yes.
Could you speak on that relative to new Moors coming into the movement and the importance of studying before they start sending out writs and claiming stuff and whatever else they see as you know, activity?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll speak to that. Remind us.
Alright, okay, alright.
All right. Number one, let's understand that Dawiyd said Allah and all mastermind men judge things by what they are, not by what they appear to be. Now, that means that in another text, the Helio-Biblo text says that we have to study to show ourselves approved. I would recommend to no one, like I practice a specific martial art. I practice Aikido. Now, in my Aikido practice, there's always a offensive person and a defensive person. The person who is attacking is usually called uki in Japanese. Okay, and this person is the person who usually has to get thrown around. He's the person who's got to do break falls. You know, he's the victim of, you know, whatever technique I may choose, kodagaish, nikio, ikkyo, whatever technique I use. He already knows that if I take his hand and I twist his hand like this and I apply pressure from this side, see his body jerk? He knows to not fight against the pull of the direction where I'm taking the body, because he can be severely hurt because we're just training. What I'm saying is that until you got the technique down good enough, I wouldn't advise going against or fighting back when all you should do is go with it until you become knowledgeable enough to stand on your own.
Islam.
There was a riddle called the riddle of the Sphinx, Moors, that was taught in the ancient Kemetic systems and even amongst the Freemasons. And it goes, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the evening, and 3 legs at the end of the day? How many people know the answer? In the back.
It's man.
Speak up a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Man.
Absolutely. The individual who walks on 4 as a man is a baby. He is the entered apprentice. Then the next level is the man who stands upright. Now he's upright. He's a Homo sapien. He's standing upright. He is a fellow craft. And the next level is when man is in the evening of his life, is in his old age. Here is a man with a cane. Mm-hmm. So this was what they refer to as the riddle of the Sphinx, or Haramaket, the proper name for the Sphinx. The riddle was very simple to explain the various stages of life, but that same explanation can be added to the level of knowledge that we have to attain first before we move to, let's say, write a writ, okay? Or something as simple as build a nation, you know? A lot of the alien ideas first have to be eradicated from what we think. We actually have to come with an empty glass. Dump your glass out. It's not saying that what you know is not important, or what you know can't be used, or what you know is not valuable. It's invaluable. And I'm grateful that you had those experiences. But you should come in at the basic level and learn what should be learned first. Learn the basics. You know, who made you? Allah. Who's Allah? Allah is the Father of the universe. Now, these seem like small things. But in actuality, upon true examination, you find what Dawiyd was alluding to and what Dawiyd was saying. All right? So we have to take our time and grow and learn. Nobody comes into the world walking. We all come in first and people carry us. And then we begin to crawl a little bit. And then we stand up and then we become men and women. All right? The Prophet Dawiyd said, Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones. It says, and follow a prophet to a destiny that is not unknown or uncertain. So that's saying that the power of the Moors is in our education and what we know. and being upright, independent, and fearless. That can only be acquired with what we teach ourselves, what we say to ourselves, what we learn, how we grow. What we do is we develop. For those who know me and close to me and my family, they know that I'm like a small level farmer. I farm, I grow my own foods, and I can take a seed, let's say mustard greens or kale, and sprinkle those seeds, and I know how long it'll take them to push up from the earth. I know how much nurturing it takes to give before they can become kale greens or collard greens. So what I'm saying is that we have to nurture ourselves first. A lot of people are jumping out there before they're actually ready. Like, you got, how many people saw Harlem Nights, one of my favorite movies?
Yeah.
Remember the scene in Harlem Nights where Arsenio Hall was trying to avenge the murder of his brother Tommy? And the guy with the extra small gun was on the side shooting. He had like a 38. And every time he would shoot his pea shooter, he would shoot his Gatling gun. Well, I said all that to say, until we've grown big enough, put your pea shooter away. Because if you study enough and you become proficient enough, then you have a Gatling gun. You got an AK-47, as the young guys call it, a street sweeper. Okay.
This is the problem with a lot of Moors in general, is that you can learn, you can read, you can gather all the knowledge you need to fight against these Europeans, but the fight can never be you against all of them. It has to be all of us against all of them. We have to move in conjunction with one another. Even when the explanation that Dawiyd, the Grand Sheikh, was talking about when it comes to farming. If you put seeds down in soil, the seeds have to go in conjunction with the soil. It has to also go in conjunction with the other things that's planted around it. Because if you don't have some type of game plan, if you don't have some type of way that you're going to move together, if you're moving alone and writing writs and affidavits and then going on your own and doing things, they're going to cut you down with all the power that they have. And then once they cut you down and then cut down the next person and the next person, then everybody is going to get to the point where they are diminished, their capacity is diminished. And now their hopes and their dreams of making this a powerful nation, a powerful government, is going to go to the wayside because they feel like nothing they can do is going to work. But it's only going to work when we work together. So that's the only way this is going to ever work. We all have to be on the same page and move together as one. We can't move singularly by each other, by ourselves. Ashe?
Ashe.
Family, I want to show you that there are always two forces working in the world, okay? And right now, I would assert everywhere on the planet there are but two. The prophet said that there are but two. He said that one was the higher self and one was the lower self, correct?
Islam.
Islam. Well, guess what? There are only two when it comes to the physical manifestation of those powers. The Roman nations and the Moorish nations. Now, i.e., the Barbary powers, which they referred to the Moors as when we were moving all over the earth, and the Roman nations. Now, how many people, is there a Black's Law dictionary in the building there?
Yes, yes.
Which version?
4th edition.
All right.
Pull it out.
Pull them all up.
Well, you got yours too?
Okay. Turn to, you might have to turn the light on.
You got.
No, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. You do it. Hold this.
Yeah, we got like.
Look up the word Lex.
L-E-X?
Yes.
L-E-X. Lex Romana.
I need to turn on the light.
Yeah, you need that.
Just hold it. Oh, yeah. Okay, turn it on quicker.
Okay, Lex what? Romani?
Romana, R-O-M-A?
Romana. Romana. Lex Romana.
Go?
Yeah.
When you find it, just start reading it. Read it out loud.
Okay, let's remember. Civil law, Roman law.
Read it a little bit louder, my brother.
Sorry, civil law, Roman law.
So there's a distinction in types of laws then, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. What is a Roman?
Not Asiatic.
Who said that?
Cujo.
Real talk. Islam. Turn the book to Roman.
Roman law. What's the word Roman?
Yeah, Roman law. Well, Roman.
Yeah, Roman.
Roman Catholic.
Turn to Roman Catholic Church.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Read.
The jurisdicts, personalities of the Roman Catholic Church with the right to sue and to take and hold property has been recognized by all systems of European law from the 4th century.
Stop. That speaks volumes to the concern of what's going on all over the earth. That one definition. Yes?
Yes.
In those few sentences, so much was said that probably went over the head of everybody who is trying to figure out why we're losing all over the earth. There are two forces in the world, the Roman nations and the Moorish nation. The juristic person, the juristic personality. The people talk about the prophet going down to the Pan American Conference, the Bustamante Papers, or Bustamante Conference. And the first article of the Bustamante meeting is about what? Juristic persons and juristic personalities. That's the first issue that was raised. Now, then it goes on to say, with the right to sue and to take hold property has been recognized by all systems of European law since the 4th century. In essence, I can't say what I want to say. That means give me your right? That's basic. I've translated that from legalese to regular people talk. Okay. It was formally recognized between Spain and the papacy. Are y'all listening, Moors?
Yeah.
That means that the Spain was the #1 province of rulership of who for 800 years? The Moors. How many people are familiar with the Roman Catholic Church? Raise your hand.
Oh yeah.
Good. How many people are familiar with Alhambra? Raise your hand. How many people are familiar with a secret society called Alhambra?
No.
Nobody raised their hand. Okay, now let me explain. How many people are familiar with a secret society called the Ancient Arabic Order Nobles of the Mystic Shrine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody, I'm sure, raised their hand. Okay, now, the Catholics themselves, who are not Freemasons, have their own secret society called Alhambra. Cujo, do you have the ability, Verashik, to look up stuff and show it so people can see it on you have a projector?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Can you open up Alhambra, the website Alhambra? Good. Now, read. I want you to read what they say about Alhambra. Read it.
Oh, Order of Alhambra?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Knights of Columbus.
No, not that. I don't think so. Okay, our mission The International Order of Alhambra is an organization of Catholic men and women dedicated to assisting persons developmentally disabled by mental retardation. The order's mission is to provide assistance, education, residences for persons developmentally disabled, identify, mark, preserve, and commemorate Catholic historical places, events, and persons of international or regional importance, promote fraternalism and sociability among its members and their families. Vision. The International Order of Alhambra focuses its primary efforts on providing assistance to persons developmentally disabled by mental retardation through its charitable program and projects. It perpetuates Catholic heritage through its historical memorial program and initial purpose and goal of the order, and the order places emphasis on fraternalism and sociability to provide a cohesive force of human and financial resources to achieve its purposes. Charity.
One second.
Alright. Catholic history. The
There we go.
historical memorials program has existed from the founding days of the Order of Alhambra, as reported in the foreword of the Order of Alhambra. Its history, its memorials by Reverend Vincent A. Lamporta. In there it is noted, just as the very name of the order recalls a crucial turning point in history of religion and culture among Catholics of Europe, so Alhambra was founded to perpetuate the glorious moments in history of religion and culture among Catholics in North America. Accordingly, to this day, a major purpose of the International Order of Alhambra is identify, mark, preserve, and commemorate Catholic historical places, events, and persons of international or regional importance. Over 160 such memorials have been established in Canada and the United States. A registry of these memorials and their locations is maintained by the headquarters office permanent staff.
All right, now listen, I want you to hear something. Now, I found what I was looking for.
Okay.
I wish I could show you my desktop. Is there a way I can show you my desktop?
I believe so. There should be, let me see right here. There should be, okay, on the plus sign.
Yeah.
I think if you push the plus sign, it's supposed to allow you to show, yeah, allow you to show us your computer screen.
Can y'all see it?
It's something's loading, but it's not showing anything yet.
Okay, it's loading. Just let me know. Let me know when you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be the same issue with the slow connection or whatever. Okay, there it is. It's showing now.
It's okay. Now, do you have a piece of the order is what?
Say it again.
Read what it says. The official headpiece of the order is what?
The official headpiece of the order is, I don't know, I can't make it out. It's kind of small.
I'm trying to make it before you.
They keep doing that. It's getting bigger. Yeah, all right, there we go. All right. The official headpiece of the order is a white fez on which there is embroidered the word Alhambra. Below, which is embroidered a replica of the emblem of the order, followed by the name and number of the caravan to which the member belongs. In addition, at the discretion of the member, the title and office held or city in which his caravan is located may be embroidered on his fez. each fez has a tassel, the color of which denotes the rank of the member or the rank in office held as follows.
What about the novice?
Novice is brown, Sir Noble's red.
Sir Noble.
Yeah, Sir Noble's.
Caravan of the Dawiyd.
White. Chairman.
And it goes on and on and on.
Right.
Chairman Standing Committee silver. Color quarters for committee members. Supreme officers gold. Cardinals, bishops, and priests purple. That means that cardinals know, bishops know, and priests know, correct?
Right.
Because if they got a fez, that means that they must be an initiate, right?
Right.
And that's the color of royalty.
Absolutely. Deacon. Oh. Religious brothers. Going back.
We talked about the mushrooms. This is the ecclesiastical protector.
I'm working on more, sorry.
Oh, it's all good, it's all good.
So that's their protection.
Read the part where it says the Order of Alhambra.
The Order of Alhambra has adopted the music of March On from Verdi's famous opera Ada, because the march occurs in the operatic scene when Egyptian forces triumphed over the enemy. To us Alhambrans, the march expresses our express victory over adversity to achieve our fraternal faith and charitable purpose. The relevance of the march is further emphasized by its powerful lyrics in the opening chorus. We have to scroll down some more. The Order of Alhambra is a Catholic organization and ministry that assists. Oh. Oh, the Order of Alhambra is a Catholic organization and ministry that assists the developmentally disabled and handicapped. The Order of Alhambra is named after the ancient place in Granada, Spain, where the Moors surrendered to Ferdinand and Isabella in 1492 after occupying Spain for almost 900 years. The order has taken that occupation as its historic theme.
Can you hear it, Morris?
Yeah, we hear you.
This is called Lex Romana. What is it called?
Lex Romana.
Lex Romana. Boom. The law of Rome. Now let's scroll down a little bit. Now hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. You weren't supposed to see that part. Right here. Hold on. I'm gonna...
Yeah, just put your camera on.
Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Did that interrupt?
Say that again?
Hold on, I think it interrupted file sharing too.
All right.
Did the file come back up?
Yeah.
All right, read, Chief.
The symbols, the red tower of Castile and the crescent of the Saracen, have been chosen in recognition of an advanced, accomplished society. The members of the order wear fezzes which are white to donate purity. The name of the caravans are taken from the Spanish cities events, and people of the period of the Moorish occupation. Aben Zor was the name of a Moorish pharmacist whose work was studied until comparatively recent times.
Okay, cool. Now, who started the order? Let's find that out. In New York. Yeah. So that means what I'm saying was that they already know. We just play catch up.
Right.
All right, read.
William Harper Bennett founded the Order of Alhambra on February 29, 1904 in Brooklyn, New York as a Catholic fraternal and social association. It was named after the Alhambra, a Moorish palace in Granada, Spain, where the Moors surrendered to Ferdinand and Isabella in 1492 after occupying Spain for almost 800 years. Within sight of the Alhambra's red towers, the saintly Columbus received the first favorable reply to his lifelong prayers
Wait. Hold on, Chief. Wait.
Yeah.
Saintly? All right, let's back it up some.
All right.
First of all, the word Alhambra itself comes from an Arabic word, Alhamra'a, which means the red house. How many people know what the term Casablanca means? Casablanca.
Is it just a place or?
Castle of something.
Yeah, it's something about a castle or something like that.
White Castle.
White Castle?
The White House.
White House. Okay.
What is the seat of rule in America called? In the United States of America?
White House.
There's a city in Morocco called Casablanca.
Yeah. After the movie.
The White House.
Right.
Absolutely. This actually was established, laid out, surveyed, designed by Big Ben Bay, aka who?
Benjamin Banneker.
Benjamin Banneker, the Malian Moor. All right, cool. Ready, Moore? Extract. Let me teach y'all some really quick Moorish present-day editing. When you run up on words like saintly, extract that. When you run up words like in the Moors in Spain, that they call the Muslims in Spain, the actual verbiage said Alexander the Great. I said Alexander the Greek.
Right.
We have to extract what empowers them. Our conversation, when we first erected the temple here, this is how we would greet. Islam, well, good day. Rome must fall. Right. We said Rome must fall. Like, because in ancient times, the Roman nations would greet, good day, Roman citizen. Carthage must fall.
Right.
So we extracted that and said Islam. We would greet, instead of Allah's salvation unity, we would greet Rome must fall. Like, the concepts, we have to re-educate ourselves.
Right.
All right, extract saintly. I didn't even know that was in there. I would have edited it. Go ahead.
Within sight of the Alhambra's red towers, the Columbus received the first favorable reply to his lifelong prayers for assistance to embark on his voyage of discovery. The order...
How could a people who believe that the earth was flat now know how to sail? So now they understand the ability to travel on sea, and they got maps. Where in the world, where did this occur from? What happened? In 900 years, somebody was researching somebody was attempting to usurp somebody the whole time. It's kind of like you working for Ray Kroc, who owns McDonald's, and you check his blueprint out. You see how where he put the fry machine, where he put the burger machine, where he ordered the buns from, and the next thing you know, you got this new place called McDowell's. But look at the verbiage though. It says Columbus received the first favorable reply to his lifelong prayers for assistance to embark on his voyage of discovery. Now, in the original story of Columbus, he wasn't looking for anything.
Right.
He was just trying to go a different route to get to India. So if you were just looking for a different route to go to India, how did you have a voyage of discovery? They use words to try to empower themselves so that anybody is reading their words think that they were always in power and that they were always the greatest of the great.
But we have to be able to read in between these lines that they give us, so that we can get the truth out of what we're reading.
So that Brother Dawiyd, that's the lesson that you always teach about having the power to define.
Absolutely, the power of definition is the most powerful weapon. Not a gun, not a knife, not a scimitar. It's the power of definition. Absolutely. But as you see, they know that our words are even more powerful than theirs. So they're using the names that we have. Alhambra is our name.
Right.
So they're adopting our name so that they can empower their own our fraternal organization. A perfect example. In the story of the Torah, the Thankh, it talks about two twin brothers, which is a story that's not only exists amongst that specific culture, but this is a story that's prevailing. It's in the ancient Sumerian text. They talk about the brothers Enlil and Enki. In the Dogon story, they talk about twins amongst the Africans of Nigeria. The old they speak of the Dawiyd, the twins. Haitian brothers, they speak of it. They call it Marasa. The Fam Bay speaking family group of people, they call it Hohovi or Vinavik, the twins. It's saying that there are two forces that are constantly opposing each other. Now, the interesting thing is that according to what they say in the Torah, the word Yaakov or Jacob means to supplant. That means to steal something from your brother. He stole the birthright. Well, we're saying that they're attempting to steal our birthright. Why? The next sentence says what, Cujo?
The order in addition to adopting the name of the Moorish palace.
Why are you adopting names of Moorish palaces? Name it after capital cities in Rome.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Right. I'm sorry.
It's all right. In addition to adopting the name of the Moorish palace, uses the colorful Oriental costuming and settings. You have to scroll down a little.
Yeah, hold on. I dropped the ball on that. Hold on a second.
It's all good.
It's temperamental. It's extremely temperamental, so let me try to do it with some ease. All right, Sheik.
All right. The emblem of the order is the red tower of Castile, surmounting the crescent of the Saracen, typifying the triumph of Christianity over the Moors.
Who the heck are the Saracens?
Moors.
Why did they throw that in there?
Right.
Absolutely. It's a code name for the Moors.
The Fez
How many people saw a movie called The Kingdom of Heaven?
Kingdom of Heaven.
It's a really good movie about the battle for Jerusalem between the European powers and the Saracens. Excellent movie. But it typifies this. It's speaking of this specifically. Continue, more, please.
The Moors, the fez worn by members of the order, has this emblem as its prominent centerpiece. The order has been honored by Pope John Paul, accepting a fez.
Who's this guy?
Pope John Paul.
What's that in his hand? Top left corner. What's that in his hand?
Right, he's holding a fez.
A white fez.
A white fez.
Right corner. Right corner.
Oh,
Where's he
right
kissing?
corner. Oh, he's kissing the Quran.
And at the end of the day, that's what we bow down to. Black Madonna.
Right.
Okay, cool. Hold on. Let's back it up a little bit. Well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just making this all up, right?
Yeah.
Here's President Woodrow Wilson. What's on their fezzes?
Whoa.
Yep, the order. The order of Alhambra.
Okay,
Okay, cool. Somebody knows something. Maybe we're just a little bit late. You know, that's possible. Sometimes, you know, when your mom's is baking that bomb peach cobbler, and your cousin, your big cousin Daryl is gonna come over, and you know he's gonna eat it all, you invite him a little bit late.
We started at 8, not 7.
Like that.
So bear with me, Morris.
No problem, Mark. Interesting slides you got.
Absolutely. This is from a lecture I did on the Moorish connection of masonry. These are some of the original popes of the Roman Catholic faith. We'll go back to that again.
Oh,
Pope Victor I, Saint Benedict the Moor. We'll talk about them another time. This is the Seville Brotherhood. This is a brotherhood of priests in Spain. Now they look reminiscent to the clan when in actuality they're not. They're dealing with the relationship with the Moors and what happened in Spain. Okay. Now before you can do any of that stuff, you first got to be a Knight of Columbus when you're a Roman Catholic. That's these guys.
yeah.
Okay? Now look at what the symbols are on the Knights of Columbus symbol. What are those symbols?
The fascia.
The fasciae, the sword.
Good catch. Most people never catch the fasciae. Good catch. And what else do you see?
Anchor, and a sword. I guess a knight's sword or knight. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me translate this symbol for you because I'm a symbiologist. An esthetologist and a symbiologist. Let me translate this to you in Southside Chicago talk. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to sail there by boat, the anchor, with my knife, aka my sword or my AK-47, and I'm going to set up a fascist state. I'm going to take your stuff from you. Moving to the next slide. I can't say what I want to say.
Man, just say it.
Again, in the Seville Brotherhood. Sorry about that, Morris. My computer, man. I'm still figuring out stuff.
It's all good.
This is the Seville Brotherhood again, inside of the church. Hold on a second, Morris. I got y'all. Y'all still with me?
Yeah, we're here, Mark.
And I'm still on Lex Romana. I haven't went nowhere yet. We know these guys.
Yep.
Very important person in our history. We'll talk about him at another time.
Pascal. Yes.
This is in the Washington Masonic Monument in Alexandria, Virginia. They eradicated what the Moors even look like in Mecca here. Look at these guys. This is the shrine room at the Washington Masonic Monument in Alexandria, Virginia. Okay? So you see all of these Arabic names. Imran, Anah, Aneza, Ansar, Arab, Arabah, Arabia, Ararat, Azam. What does that one say?
Ben Ali.
Okay.
I know he's going to
1 second, Morris. Here are some guys who had on fezes. These are political leaders from America to Mexico who are also fine. I call this part of the lecture, when I'm usually doing it, I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much right now, I'm going to put on the fez. I hate you so much right now, I'm going to imitate you at your greatest height. Here's one of the last king of Hawaii, and he had a fez.
Islam.
Here are the shriners emulating the way that the ancient Moors do with unity and unison. Here they are again attempting to emulate the Moors. These are the 13 original Masons under William Florence, who started the Arabic Order Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Here is the coat of arms from the last king of Hawaii. Look at the colors. Look at the feathers on the heads of the guards. They guard the crest. And here he is. In actuality, this looks like a guy here in Chicago I know named Harvey Lemuel, a famous musician here.
He do look like him.
He looks just like him, actually. Okay? It's the last king of Hawaii. Now, this is going to be the icing on the cake. The Roman nations versus who? The Moorish nation. Who? What did I say?
Islam, Ben B.
This is from a society called the Mystic Order of Veiled and Exalted Prophets from the Mystic Realm, Enchanted Realm. Okay? MOVPER. What does this say, Morris?
Ben B.
And what does that say?
Islam.
Noble Drew Ali, man. Noble Drew Ali, man. He's the one behind all this. He's the one who came crying out in the wilderness for us to wake up. Here's something else from the Washington Monument to show, and this was added because of the work of Ben Bay. What you see in this image?
And God is black.
God is obviously not a European.
You see, the hand reaching down is actually the hand of Ben Bay, reaching down to pull up the European nation.
Real.
Okay? At that time.
Wow.
Okay? This is the monument in Washington, in Virginia. This is the Masonic monument. Built with a pyramid on top that looks like the mastaba or the step pyramid at Saqqara and a ziggurat all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's based on this guy here. Who actually is emulating how the priests of ancient Egypt would look, stand, and dress, minus the lace. This is the layout of the District of Columbia. Now, I hate you so much right now, I'm going to replicate and duplicate all of the great works. This is the White House of Casablanca. And that's the White House here in D.C. Here's our brother Big Ben Bay laying it all out. See how he cool? You know he giving them the science because he leaning. Like, draw off this. Okay, these are things that have been hidden from us in history. I hate you so much right now that when you die, I wipe you away from history and I put my picture in a place where your history goes. Does that make sense, Morris?
Islam.
All right, now, moving on. Move to the term Lex Barbary.
Lex Barbary. Got that?
Now, here's our brother Benjamin Banneker, a.k.a. Big Ben Bay. They called him Big Ben Bay because of his intellectual capacity. He probably was only 4'11". And this is a copy of the almanac that he first published. In 1795, when Benjamin Franklin said that African people, i.e. the Moors, had no intellectual capacity, he sends this guy, Benjamin Franklin, an almanac. Then the almanac, after Ben Bay writes the almanac, begins to become plagiarized year after year and called the Franklin Almanac. The sheet mentioned page shows the layout of D.C. All the major like buildings are at those locations. You see that? That's the star, the 5-pointed star.
Oh, you have to put the switch the screen back to see the. Hold on.
You see it?
Hold on one sec.
Oh, they probably can't see it. We're sharing the. Okay, well, I have an image of it. Don't worry, I got it.
Right.
He was just showing you. 1 second, I got an image of it though. Now I'm going to show you an image of, unfortunately, our modern day brother Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, the brother in Ohio, and any other brother who were murdered and killed by the European Gestapo type tactics and powers. This is the ancient picture of them.
Shred.
You follow what I'm saying, Morris?
Right.
Okay. That's Dred Scott, who I nationalized myself. I got his nationality card around it somewhere. Dred Scott, hey. All right? What the sheet was alluding to was that at the center of the major layout of Columbia, sorry, is square and compass and pentagrams, all line and mark the spot. This is an obelisk. They actually stole this obelisk, or what we call a tekken or benben stone. Excuse me, they stole this. This represents the spine of Osir or Osiris. It also represents the male principle of the ruling powers. Like it's a phallic symbol. And what color is this phallic symbol?
White.
All right, moving on. All right. So we touched Ben Bay. Somebody read Lex Barbary.
Is it Barbary or Barbara?
Barbary.
I have Barbara.
We found on Lex Barbara.
That's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
The barbarian law, the laws of those nations that were not subjected to the Roman Empire were so called. Spellman.
Did y'all read that again, brother?
The barbarian law, the laws of those nations that were not subjected to the Roman Empire were so called. Spellman.
Who are the barbarians?
We are.
The Moors. The Barbaries.
Absolutely. The word barbar comes from a Berber word. It means Berber. We were those sailors, the barbarians. That's also a term that the Romans called us by. They called us the barbarians because we was giving it to them real bad at one time. Under our great brother, the great General Hannibal Barcar, he was giving it to them. How many people are familiar with the movie True Romance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the scene in the movie True Romance where he's having a conversation about who the Moors are in the relationship to our Italian sons.
Yeah.
Well, who are the Italians? The Romans.
Right.
Where is Italy?
Just north of Africa, so to speak.
All of that was the Roman Empire. And who's the head of the Roman Empire?
So-called Victor Pope.
This guy, the Lord of Siths. He do look like it. But actually, this specific pontiff retired early,
Yeah.
like no other pontiff had ever done.
Yeah.
But let's examine what's different about this pontiff. Are we going to move to the next scene? This is him again. And next to him is the knight who is the head of the sovereign order of the Knights of Hospitaller, or the Knights, I'm going to show you there, you're going to know exactly who they are in 1 second. I'm jumping ahead of myself. The sovereign order of the Knights of St. John of Jerusalem. They are also called the Knights of Malta.
Yeah, and what's his name?
Look at their license plates. They have their own license plates.
Ask him.
They got diplomatic.
This is the cathedral that they still have. They have a castle in Malta that's considered sovereign territory. Maybe we're just slow.
Well, what wasn't Mandela giving us some keys to that?
Absolutely, I'm gonna show that in one of the clips too, more.
Another thing that you brought up when you were talking about the barbarians. What came to my mind was Barbar the elephant.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He has a crown.
Yeah, because he wears a crown and it's an elephant. Yeah.
Elephant, that's Hannibal all day.
Right. Right.
Barbar, the Moors with the crown. This is the cathedral where their flag flies. Their sovereign territory. One of the only strongholds that they have. They only got this little place, and they're a sovereign nation.
Okay. Could you speak on that idea of creating that pseudo-sovereign jurisdiction that they have?
Yeah. I'm going to complete this one thought and I'm going to jump right into it.
All right.
Okay? Now, what we see here is the coat of arms of the former pope. What do you see here to the left?
Mom.
Yeah,
A Moor.
The Freising Moor.
Yeah.
What is the Freising Moor? Let's find that out.
Rising?
The upper left-hand section of the shield depicts a brown-faced Moor with red lips, crown and collar. It is a symbol of the former diocese of Freising, dating back to the 8th century. Thought it is not known why the Moor came to represent Freising. So now they don't know. The Pope said for him, it is an expression of the universality of the church, which knows no distinction of race or class, since all are one in Christ. He said in his book, Milestones.
Wow.
You lied.
Yeah.
Lying ass Pope.
The Moor of Freising. Now this goes on to talk about how the Moors were in Bavaria and all over Bavaria. Okay. Look up two words if you have two Black's Law Dictionary. One word I want you to look up. One word I want you to look up is charter, and the other word I want you to look up is sovereign. Look those two things up.
Are you got charter?
Huh? S-O.
When you gotta say Ashe.
What the?
Ashe.
All right, read.
So charter. An instrument emanated from the sovereign power in the nature of a grant, either to the whole nation or to a class or portion of the people, or to a colony or dependency, and assuring to them certain rights, liberties, or powers. Such was the Great Charter or Magna Charta, and such also were the charters granted to certain of the English colonies in America.
Good. So it's an instrument emanating from a sovereign. Is a sultan a sovereign?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Now read the term sovereign.
A person, body, or state in which independent and supreme authority is vested. A chief ruler with supreme power. A king or other ruler with limited power. In English law, a gold coin of Great Britain of the value of £1 sterling.
I'm gonna stop the file sharing, okay?
Yeah, no problem, Mark. That was some good file sharing, though.
All right. So a sovereign. Now there's a lot of pseudo conversations about sovereignty, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a student of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. They know that I exposed the teachings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. One of the things that Garvey said was, until we have a strong nation of our own, we should never give up the desire for that thing. He also goes on to say, as long as other men have nations, they have their own popes, they have their own dukes and duchess, kings and queens, we should continue to have our own. Yes? If not, it says that we will be under the thumb of everyone else. We will always be the tail, and moreover, they will be the head, as our Hebrew brothers say. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th verse, the 28th chapter, 16 through 68, it describes the blessing and curses of the Hebrew people. And one of the curses that it says is that they will be the tail, and moreover, their enemies will always be the head. So unless we want to do something about that, we'll continue to always be the ass of the dog, if I may say that.
We'll be subjected to them.
Right, absolutely. Subject.
They're subjects.
Absolutely. Now, a sovereign, the best way to understand sovereignty is to go to the author of the Law of Nations, Oppenheim's. It used to be free and downloadable. I don't know if you can still do that. It's called Oppenheim's International Law. And another text is J. Breeley, The Law of Nations. Okay? You need those two books. If you don't got those two, you don't know what you're talking about. Sovereignty, the supreme, absolute, and uncontrollable power by which an independent state is governed. Now, what we understand is that we should aim for this, shoot for this. We understand that. We understand that a lot of the problem is because people are running ahead of us as a collective and doing things not like a plebiscite. They're running ahead and doing things as individuals. And then they halfway do things without even understanding it properly. So we have to take the time and form a correct body politic such that we can move freely and correctly, as opposed to everybody run out. You got the nation of what's these guys? You got the Yamasee nation. You got the nation over here, this nation and that nation. No slight at anybody who's running ahead, because at least they're thinking. But what I'm saying is that a lot of it is for their own selfish gain. It's not for us as a nation, a collective of people who are concerned about the young and yet unborn. Y'all follow what I'm saying, Moors?
Islam.
Islam. Sovereignty. Supreme political authority. paramount control of the Constitution and frame of government and its administration, the self-sufficient source of political power, from which all specific political powers are derived, the international independence of a state, combined with the right and power regulating its internal affairs without foreign dictation. That means without foreign powers who are aliens telling us what to do. Now, are we at that level of the game yet? We're developing. We're still in the morning of our nation building. I have to be honest. But we should continue to strive for that thing. All right? So unfortunately, a lot of us jumped ahead and we start doing things and we put ourselves in bad positions. Oh, the Sheik found the Law of Nations. Oppenheimer's Law. Was it Oppenheimer's or International Law?
International law.
He found Oppenheimer, so it's still available online. You still can download it.
It just popped up on my phone.
He said it popped up on his phone. Okay.
I don't know if all 583 pages is going to be as good.
It probably is all 583 pages. All right, Moors. So going back to the conversation between the Roman nations and the Barbary powers. So Cujo, is that clear about sovereignty and what it is and what it isn't?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, inside of sovereignty, I'll say this. Inside of the Law of Nations, you find that there are two different kinds of sovereignties. You have semi-sovereignty, clip sovereignty, and full sovereignty. There's three different levels of sovereignty. We don't need to talk about those right now. We'll review that at a later date. Is that okay? But we will, I mean, I gave you some keys so you can find out where to find the information. Perfect example of how this stuff is etched in stone. Let's say I met Mentu, the Sheik, and he was a king. Let's say I'm the king of Benin, of Dahomey, and let's say he's the Oni of Ife. And we met each other, and we greeted. We would say, pleased to meet you, my brother. Okay? Now, let's say that I was the president of the Republic of the United States, and he's the president of the Republic of Namibia. And when he met me, we shook hands. By us being heads of the Republic, we would say, pleased to meet you, my friend. It is seen in the Law of Nations, Jay Brealey, or Oppenheim, that all monarchs are blood related to each other, and that all republics are set up after the fact. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
So they have based their concepts in law that we have to understand before we even move to that level with a game. All right, now, going back to Lex Barbary, going back to Lex Romana, look up this other term, Mohammedan law.
Woo.
While you look up Mohammedan law, I'm going to read from a book called The Sufis by Idris Shah. Mysteries in the West. The head of wisdom. This day, and that alike you, do within your garden spin, neglectful of the nightingale, the crow, your chosen friend. Yet such companionship must leave its trace upon your soul. Do you think fire shall cease to burn, or oil and water blend? Now, it goes into talking about the Knights Templar, i.e. the Knights of Malta, same people. And it says, when they were suppressed, the Knights Templar were accused of worshiping a head, sometimes called the Baphomet. How many people are familiar with the Baphomet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Keep listening. This was considered to be an idol and probably connected with Muhammad or Mahmed. Now, yesterday was Friday the 13th, okay, according to the Roman calendar. Friday the 13th was seen as a bad day, not because it's a bad luck day, but Friday the 13th was the day that Jacques de Molay and the Templars were put to death for their alleged worship of Baphomet. Well, who's Baphomet? Now, the word Baphomet or Baphomet and Mohammed sound similar, don't they?
All right.
Good. The head was described, that's why you got to go out more tonight. Try to look online or look somewhere for the movie called The Kingdom of Heaven. You'll understand what I'm saying even more clearly. The head was described, but no head which could possibly be identified as the Baphomet could be located. So when they went after them, they didn't find anything like the Baphomet head. They didn't find that. Probably relying upon contemporary Eastern sources, Western scholars have recently supposed that Baphomet has no connection with Muhammad, but will be a corruption of the Arabic word Abu Fimahat. Abu means father in Arabic. Fimahat means wisdom. So, pronounced in the Moorish Spanish, something like Bufimahat, this word means the father of understanding or the father of wisdom. Now, they didn't kill the Templars for being adulterers. They killed the Templars for their study ship a word?
You said it, they didn't understand.
I'm making up a word, study shipper. The apprenticing of the Moors. Are y'all with me?
It's love.
Perfect example. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm an Ifa priest. I'm an initiate of Ifa. I'm a son of a Rumala, student of Ifa. And the way that it's practiced amongst the Santeros in Lukumi, they put out front a saint named Francis of Assisi, of which they talk about in detail in this book. Francis of Assisi as well studied the teachings of the Moors. So these are Catholics who actually was like, wait a minute, these guys have a damn point. It only makes sense if I have the intellectual capacity to heal smallpox that you put me on a pedestal and make me a god. If the bubonic plague is killing all of Europe, but it's not touched Spain, I know something. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Bufimahat. The word means father of understanding. In Arabic, the father is taken to mean source, chief seat of, and so on. In Sufi terminology, Ras el-Fimahat, el-Fatma, means the head of knowledge, means the meditation of man after undergoing refinement, that transmuted consciousness. That means that they were initiates of the ancient Moors. And guess what? The first 9 degrees that were given to them in Freemasonry are the 9 degrees that civilized these people and taught them the basic concepts, even to be able to have a conversation with people who were beyond their intellectual capacity. So whenever you run into a Freemason, you don't have to hit them in the head every time, Moors, because initially Freemasonry comes from the Moors. That's a misnomer that all Freemasons are bad. That's not real. That's fake. That's made up by Moors who just don't understand. Now, what you have to understand is that these Moors, or overstand, became students of those Roman Catholics, became students of the Moors. And that's what got them sent to the what do you call it when you burn somebody? At the stake. Burned at the stake, okay? All right, cool. So they have to go through refinement, it says, i.e. initiation. The first 3 to 9 degrees is what gave them a basic level to be able to conversate with us. It's kind of like taking a college entrance exam. They want to know if at least you can read and understand basic things. At least you can count to 5, okay? Cool. It will be noted that the word knowledge, understanding, here used is derived from the Arabic fahama, the root fahama, and in turn is used to stand both for fahama and derives the meaning knowledge. Fahama and the derivative standing for black coal man. We'll talk about that at another time. The Baphomet is none other than the symbol of the completed man. That meant that the Moorhead, the study of the Moors made you a complete man. If you haven't studied with a Moor, you're still on the beast level, it's alluding to. All right? Y'all with me?
Yeah, there's a lot more. You got a light?
Is it dark here?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't know. I'm in my shrine room.
Oh, it's all right. Don't worry.
I got like a 100-watt light bulb, man. We can see. We can see ourselves clearly.
It's all good. Don't worry. Go ahead, yo. Continue.
Okay, cool.
We can hear you.
Y'all are the ones who I can't see. The The Bakhmat is none other than the symbol of the complete man. That means a person who's went through something, a transformation, a shift in consciousness, or transmuted consciousness, the book says. The black head, or the Negro head, or the Turk head, which appears in heraldry in the English country inn signs, is a crusader substitute word. The cant word for the kind of knowledge. The cant word, you want me to tell you what the cant word is, Moors? More. That's the cant word. How do I know that's the cant word? You can't see it. You can't see it.
Right.
Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's the cant word. It may be noted that the shield of Hugues de Payne, the founder, Vice de Saint Omer of the Templars in 1118 AD, carried 3 black human heads, the heads of knowledge, they called them. So 3 Moorish heads were on the coat of arms of the Templars in 1118. Why are they hiding this truth from us? No, would you at least say man knows no by being told? A man must be, he himself must be what he knows. They don't want you to know because you'll be what you know. If I teach you that you're the servant, hell, that's all you're ever going to be. If I teach you that you were the Sultan, if I teach you that you were the Amirs, if I teach you that you were the great Malians, that you built the great empires of Songhai and the great empires of Ghana, and that you were there and you ruled in all these places, the great empires here in the Americas, all the way from Colorado, Montana, all the way down to the Yucatan Peninsula, and all the way over to the land of Floridays that they call Florida today. All the way over the other way to the Khalifa states that they call California today. Are you with me, Morris?
Yes, Islam.
Colonization is not something that's a stranger to the European powers. All you got to do is ask the Aborigines of Australia. All you got to do is add the original inhabitants of Canada. Ask the original inhabitants of what is the Americas today, aka Turtle Island, the land of the frogs, Amexum. You know, all you got to do is ask the original people. They'll be like, what? Now, I want to refer y'all to a book. And I found this book on accident. I was sitting down watching a video on PBS, Public Access TV, and I found a book. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up on Amazon. I want to tell you the name, the author, and I want everybody to go get it because she dropped so much time. She sounded like to go get a Fed. Get her sister a Fed or Tobin because she went hard. And she wrote it from the perspective of indigenous people, the native peoples here in the book is called An Indigenous People History of the United States. You got it?
You just say it again, and the author.
An Indigenous People's History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. One of the best books I've ever, when I heard her say the Doctrine of Discovery in the video, I started doing like the Running Man. I was like, yeah, because
What's the name of
in my mind, nobody talks about this kind of stuff. And she was sounding like a Moor. I was blown away by her. I could tell that the influence has spilled over, regardless of where it comes from, Moors. We don't care how the truth gets out, as long as it gets out. Y'all with me?
Yeah, could you say the book one more time?
No, the author.
Yep.
And the author?
Yep.
Spell her name.
The name of the book is An Indigenous People's History of the United States. And the author is Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. Okay? Now, going back to Abu Simahats. The use of this term, now we're talking about the term is the heads of knowledge. Those 3 Moorish heads on the coat of arms or the flag of the Templars. The use of this term, especially wondrous heads, things reoccurrence throughout medieval history. Pope Gerbert, Sylvester II, who studied Moorish Spain, is stated to have made a bronzen head among many other marvelous magical things. Albertus Magnus, Albert the Magnificent, spent 30 years marking this marvelous brass head. Thomas Aquinas, pupil at the time of Albertus, smashed the head, which talked too much. That sounds like Paulo Mayombe. All right, now, what we have to understand about this is that this Pope knew what was going on, number one. And he built this specific shrine head so he could communicate with the Moors. He was invoking the powers of the Moors. All right? The head appears again and again and again, it says. It should be remembered that the Templars graduates of Spanish magical schools had one thing in common. That means they were studying the magic of the Moors. What is the magic of the Moors? This is from a book called The Stolen Legacy by the Grandmaster G.M. James, one of the greatest minds to ever live. For those who know, they know that he had his throat cut from ear to ear. They assassinated G.M. James for the truth that he told. And the book talks about how Greek philosophy is very simply stolen from the ancient Egyptians, or the ancient Kemites, or the ancient Sumerians.
What's the name of that book?
Now, in the book Stolen Legacy by G.M. James, it says, one second, on page 39. Do y'all have this book in the store? In the temple?
No.
Okay, don't worry, I got you. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasions, large numbers of Egyptians fled not only to the desert and mountain regions, but also adjacent lands in Africa, Arabia, and Asia Minor, where they lived and secretly developed the teachings which belong to their mystery systems. In this book, the Sufis, they're saying that the Templars were studying the mystery system. They were studying Moorish magic. What is Moorish magic? Let's find out. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, the natives of Mauritania and North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture, which they have preserved. What did they take with them, Moors?
The Egyptian culture.
Knowledge in the ancient days was centralized. It belonged to a common parent and a system. And that's why the Greeks had to study in Egypt. It belonged to a common parent and a system. The wisdom teachings of the mysteries of Egypt, which the Greeks used to call Sophia, which is where the term philosophy comes from. The term philo means love in Greek, and Sophia, love of wisdom. Sophia means wisdom. As such, the people of North Africa were the neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of the Egyptians' culture, which they spread. It says the Moors spread the culture and were the custodians of the Egyptians. All right. Maybe I'm slow. How many people ever saw this book before?
Oh, we know that book.
Okay, good.
We have that here.
Good.
Prerequisites.
Chapter 47, my favorite chapter. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Now, we're not Canaanites like the blood. We're ancient Canaanites, meaning we occupied the land. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham, and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem. Ethiopia means something, it means something burned, burnt faces, or something divided. The word Africa comes from the Arabic word Afrikia, which means to divide something or break it up. The first time, Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the sons. The dominion of the land of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, northwest, southwest, was the dominion of his father, was his father's dominion of Africa. Then it goes on to say, in latter years, many of the brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them, the Moabites from the land of Moab, which will be present-day Jordan today, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt. What did G.M. James say that the Moors brought the wisdom from?
Egypt.
The prophet said, the Moabites from the land received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. Believe it or not, Moors, they call America Egypt of what?
The West.
Egypt of the West, because it was brought here with the wisdom and teachings of rulership of who? The Moors. Their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the Great Atlantis, even until our present North, South, and Central America. Also Mexico, the Atlantis Islands, before the Great Earthquake, which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. I said. So what this is saying is that the Moors are the priests of ancient Egypt. The wisdom of the Moors of old is the wisdom of the Moors today. When you hear in our holy text, Jesus translates that to Hebrew Horus. How's that? When you hear the stories, just translate them to understand that they come from an older text, from Akhenaten. The Circle 7 comes directly from Akhenaten. It's an Egyptian text. When the ancient lamas of Tibet got a hold to it, they turned it into something called the Economy of Life. And it became a part of another book called Unto Thee I Grant. Okay? During the occupation of Spain, the Moors displaced with considerable credit the grandeur of African culture and civilization. The schools and libraries, which they established, became famous throughout the medieval world. Sciences and learning were cultivated and taught. The schools of Cordoba, Toledo, Seville, and Saragossa. Attained such celebrity that they were like their parent Egypt. So that means that the universities that sprung up, like in Cordova, the schools there, in Toledo, Seville, Saragossa, all of these places were just like their brother, ancient Egypt. Attracted students from all parts of the world, and from them arose the most famous African professors that the world has ever known in medicine, surgery, astronomy, mathematics.
Yep.
They don't want you to know. This is what the book should look like and book should say. They don't want you to know nothing. They want you to be a Zinji, which is Arabic for nigger. They want us to be the lowest of the low. Even if it's not true, and it is, that we are the greatest and not the least, even if I wasn't the greatest, I will make it up that I was. Because what benefit would it be for me to tell my son about how poor and impoverished we are? How can I help him want to build, take, and control an empire?
What people have to realize is that there's a reason that they try to keep their foot on our necks more so than any other race. Because if they allow us to get even a small foothold anywhere, we're going to dominate and take over. It's in all aspects, knowledge-wise, intellectually, athletically. We dominate them. We dominate them every facet. So the only way to make sure that they stay on top is to keep the most powerful underneath their foot. So we have to teach that to our people as well as our babies, because the babies are going to take over and make sure that we get back where we belong. Islam. They were really recognized, the custodians of African culture, to whom the world looked to, it said, for enlightenment. Consequently, how many people have ever heard of the dark age of the Moors?
Right.
There never was one.
Right.
The only dark age that ever happened in Europe, because the Moors were there, were when the Moors were there. Consequently, through the medium of the ancient Arabic language, philosophy and various branches of science were disseminated. All the so-called works of Aristotle in metaphysics, moral philosophy, and natural science translations of Leonardo Pisano in Arabic Mathematical Sciences translation by Gedeo, a monk of Arezzo in musical notation. In addition, the Moors kept up constant contact with Mother Egypt, for they had established a caliphate. A caliphate means a rulership of Khalifa, from person to person, successorship. Not only at Baghdad and Cordoba, but also at Cairo in Egypt. Europe in the Middle Ages. By all, page 216, 219. Just here, it will be well to mention that all the great leaders of great religions of antiquity were initiates of Egyptian mystery system, from Moses, who was a great Paragramat, down to Christ. It should also be of interest to know that the European scientists like Roger Bacon, Johann Kepler, Copernicus, and others obtained the sciences through Arab, Moors, or Berber sources. It is also noteworthy that throughout the Middle Ages, European knowledge of medicine came from the same source. Written in a book called The History of the Arabs by Hitchie, page 370, 629, 665, 572. Also from a book by Annie Besant called Esoteric Christianity. All right, pages 107, pages 128, 129, and Ancient Mysteries by the same publishers. I believe that's by the Theosophical Society as well. Now, are there any questions?
Questions?
All right, now.
No, I don't think so.
All right, cool. All right, how are we looking on time?
Right now we're at 2 hours.
Okay. I'm gonna go for a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Then we'll take questions and give you an opportunity to ask. So I want to just kind of show, I wanted to really show like the historical hiding of who we are. Mm-hmm. You know, that's really what happened. The title of this lecture, Cujo, if you want to lecture it, call it Who Lost History?
Who lost history?
Yeah.
All right.
The Awakening of the Moors. Who lost history?
Got something?
How many people ever heard of a book called the Bible? Well, I happen to have one here. All right? Can everybody see it?
Islam.
Now, this is a regular Bible. Nothing interesting about it. Except for the first couple of pages, you find out some historical things about Masons. And, you know, it talks about history of Masons from roll art to the printers, all the way up to the 32nd degree. And then they just give you a bunch of historical stuff about Freemasonry and how they talk about the building of King Solomon's Temple, etc. Then at the end of the book, there's a very small and limited glossary, extremely small and limited concordance at the back of it. And then there's a couple of maps. Now, I bought this myself about 20 years ago. Okay? Now, I found this one in the thrift store for 60 cents. Now, this one belonged to some European Mason named Clarence E. Bain. He was initiated May 5th, 1943, and he was raised to the degree of Master Mason May 31st, 1943. And this Bible was presented to him. Now, what's interesting about this one is kind of like that one. Same stuff. You know, the little history of Freemasonry. See, it says Freemasonry and religion. You know, then it's basically the Bible and the concordance. Same thing. Nothing deep, right? Well, once you get to the back of this one, I discovered something on accident. Or so I thought it was accident. Remember, I paid 60 cents for this in the thrift store. The first thing you see is illustrations. I want you to see it. This page over here. What do you see that looks interesting?
The what's it? Not the compass.
What else?
It's hard for us to see, I think, with the.
All right, don't worry. The first thing you see, it says, the gods of Egypt.
Wow.
I want you to see that. What can I do to make you see that?
We see it.
Okay. Yeah.
What does that say?
Something 1 and something and 2, the gods of Egypt.
Good, okay. So it says, plate 1 and 2, the gods of Egypt. The following accounts of the gods of Egypt will interest those who have taken the higher degrees of the ancient accepted Scottish rite. The Egyptians believed in a hidden and unknown almighty God, but also acknowledged the existence of a number of beings of a supernatural nature, to whom they gave the collective title of Netiru, gods. Now, this book don't got nothing in it but a couple of maps. When I open this one, they're talking about the gods of ancient Egypt. So I said, wait a minute, then they name some of the gods. First they say Thankh. The creator is represented as a mummy. In his hand he holds the signs of the crook and the flail, the scepter ornamented with the emblems of stability, which is the Zed. And on the back of the neck, he has the Minat, or an emblem of joy and happiness. He was worshipped at Memphis from the earliest time. Now, all right, so that's in the Masonic Bible. I'm going back to J.A. Rogers, who the Masons killed. Not all Masons, Moors are bad. I'm pointing out specific ones, okay?
This guy went off today.
Yeah.
You got the
Huh?
CD, right?
This one? Yeah, it should be up there. Yeah.
The same first pair of pre-creation gods were together present. Ta, the primeval heel, who is thought and the words of all the gods put together with Atum, who rests upon Ta. Then they go on to talk about how Ta grew from this primeval hill, even more detailed. Then they talk about Osiris and who Osiris is and how he's in relation to us. Well, then I bounce back to the book. The next section, they talk about Ra and Tahuti and Net and Osiris, Usir, Teket, Hapet. Then they go on to start talking about the Ark. Now this is the Bible. So if you went to public school like I did and you hear Ark, you think of some big boat hanging out and Noah and his 2x2 animals were on it. But this is talking about the Ark of Ra, the great solar boat of Ra. They're talking about Amenhotep III. Now this is the Bible. This is a Masonic Bible with this cute. I paid 60 cents for this. Okay. It talks about the procession of the ark, the solar revisiting the ark, the strangers coming into Egypt. It's telling you about them. The strangers that are coming into Egypt. The Egyptian granaries, Egyptian brick making. Then it starts to talk about ancient Babylon, the Assyrians, and Syria. Then it starts talking about cuneiform and the black obelisks. You see the cuneiform text? Script?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then they start talking about the wall and building the temples of Babylon. This is in there too. What does that say?
What the hell?
Wow.
Noble Jolly said, he said it and he said it fast. I'm going to read it. I'm going to circle this out.
Look, it's in yellow though. It's not a green.
Chapter 2. We call these sons the revealers of the light.
Better than
But they must first have the light before they can reveal it. And you must teach your sons to set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and to make them conscious of their mission to the sons of men. Teach them that Allah and man are one, but through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from Allah. He debased himself. Teach that the holy breath will make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. Noble Jolly laid it out, man. It says, what does that say? Egyptian what?
Egyptian
Gods
and
goddesses.
Oh, okay. Another page. What does that say?
Egyptian god and goddesses.
Continue.
Continue.
That's where the ark actually came from. That's from one of the temples of ancient Egypt. That's the real ark. That's the Ark of the Covenant.
Ark is not a boat. Right?
Here's our judgment scene. As the Muslims call it in the Arabic, Yawmul Akhir, the last day, or Yawmul Qiyam, the day of standing. As you have to actually stand before the great mother Ma'at, and your heart is weighed against the weight of a feather. Then there's the Kaaba. Oh, I'm sorry, the Ka and the Ba, taken directly from ancient Egypt.
Wow.
I want y'all to read what I said down at the bottom.
Oh, man.
A little closer and further up.
Strangers.
Strangers coming into Egypt.
The Hyksos, the Hykakasut, these are them. The shepherd kings, they call them.
Like denim.
This is from the 12th dynasty. All right? You can see because in the actual hieroglyph, they're carrying sheep into Egypt. They got them by horns. This book got nothing in it. This book from 1943 has got some stuff in it.
Oh yeah, you paid 60 cents for it too.
Public Enemy had a song a long time ago. It was in a song called I don't remember the name of the song, but it goes, "Power and equality, I'm out to get it. I know some of y'all ain't with it." The party started right in '66 with a cold black radical mix. Then they go on to say in the song, "But even Masons, they know it and refuse to show it. But yo, in fact, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back."
Islam.
They know it, but they refuse to show it. They knew it and they were showing it. Next, they start talking more about ancient Sumer. And you see the cuneiform text.
We got 3 hours here.
This is taken from the walls and temples of ancient Babylon. The Enuma Elish went on high. An image of the Romans carrying the candelabrum away from the Hebrews, or a symbol of the power shifting from the ancient Moors to the Roman nations.
Wow.
And then it's like 3 pages of maps. All right. So I say that to say, Moors, somebody's lying.
Wow.
2 important books if you want to understand the arcana of Freemasonry and its origins from our ancient ancestors. The Danig, or the pygmy, the Twa, the little people, the tides. Signs and Symbols of the Primordial Man by Albert Churchward. It's one of the best books ever written. He was a European, he was a Knights Kadash who really gave it up big about who we were. He talked in detail after detail after detail. The first, or the Paleolithic man, was the pygmy. He was evolved in Central Africa at the source of the Nile. He was a European in 18...
Who's the writer?
Albert Churchward.
I don't see the original printing date. It was 18 something. Now, they were still saying that we were of no significance. How do I know? I'm gonna reach on my bookshelf and grab another book. Reach right there. It's a white book called Intellectual Warfare by Dr. Jacob Brothers.
Oh yeah, big book.
It's white, right there, second shelf.
Big book.
Yeah, look over, come this way, come to your right. It's probably hidden behind those signs book. It's called
Signs and symbols.
Intellectual Warfare. It's a white book, thick. See it? Yeah. Look up there, up one shelf. White book, Intellectual Warfare.
So, signs and symbols of
The primordial.
I just saw it earlier today. Look down there, maybe the third shelf. I went to public school. White book. Don't worry about that. Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. In the book, Jacob Carruthers, a great scholar, he was an Egyptologist well here in Chicago, and he was a student of Dr. Clark as well, our great elders, august elders, Nana John Clark and Dr. Ben. And by the way, too, a lot of those Moors, like unconscious Moors, like Seti and those other guys, are running around making all kind of crazy statements about the Moors. Just for a matter of fact, and just for the record, Dr. Ben Yochanan, his degree is in Moorish history.
Mm-hmm.
He got his PhD in Moorish history. How many people knew that?
Yeah, wow.
If he got his degree in Moorish history, that must mean that there's a field of study called what?
Moorish history.
Yeah, bring it.
So he was involved in Central Africa, talking about the pygmy. The source of the Nile Valley. And from here, all originated and were carried throughout the world. And that most primitive phases of mythology is a mode representing certain elemental powers by means of living types, which were superhuman like the natural phenomena. It's saying those little people was gods and everything else is a duplication of what they were doing. Freemasonry is now and always was an eschatology. Eschatology, and has been proved by the whole of our signs, symbols, and words and our rituals. More than 100 years ago, some of our brethren were of this opinion. That means that they changed. We say that the human race originated or was planted in Northeast Africa. Why am I reading this? Because at the time he was saying this, Montague, Humes, and all these other European scholars said there were nothing that we had contributed to history. When this leading European scholar, who was a student of the great Egyptologist Gerald Massey, who also knew about the history of the ancient Moors, talked about who we were and our greatness as well in ancient Egypt. These fools are so insane, they've taken Egypt out of Africa. That's like trying to take Chicago out of Illinois. It don't even make sense.
Oh, the Middle East.
It's ridiculous. Like, I go to a bookstore, I won't even say the name of the bookstore, I won't put them on blast. Myopic Books on North Avenue. They've separated Egypt from Africa in the section. They've done it in another bookstore. I won't put them on blast either. Piles in Hyde Park. What they've done is they've taken Egypt out of Africa, like it doesn't have any place in Africa.
He said he's not going to do it. So
You know?
I'm saying that they've done the same thing. They've taken the Moors out of history. And they'll call you an Arab or Muslim or Berber. Not all Moors were Muslims. Not all Muslims are Moors. We said that the human race originated or was planted in Northeast Africa, including the source and the banks of the Nile. It is a very important fact to note here that the symbology has been carried down amongst ourselves to the present day. He goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and talks about, he even got images of the Twa, the Pygmies, the Danig, the little people. He said that these are the original people. That we evolved from these specific phenotypes. Okay? It says, the Pygmies were primitive men, the little earth men. They are not Negroes nor Negroid.
Could you say that again, please?
The pygmies are primitive men, the little earth men. They are not Negroes, all right?
Wow.
So they aren't Negroes. They created these phenotypes scientifically, Negro, Caucasoid, and Mongoloid. All right, that's all made up stuff. There's only one race, the human race. Okay? And many of the anatomical features show the near relationship that they bear to the ancient carving, the ancient, what do you call it? Fragments that were left behind, of like Lucy or Dignish, and some of the fossils, some of the other fossils that were left behind, okay? So, are there any other questions?
Well, good. No question?
Huh? Question?
Question, yeah. Hey, we got one more.
What is he, is he finishing up?
No,
Yeah,
just ask
just go.
question.
This question just goes back to your comment originally about how you were saying that basically we have to come together to sort of create a, I guess for lack of I think you used the word plebiscite, or a, or like a
Body politic.
a body politic, exactly. So I'm thinking to myself, the prophet had made the comment that, in 1913, that 50 years after he's gone, if we're not careful, he would be, we would forget about him, and 100 years later, whatever. Obviously, that hasn't happened, and it's on the front burner again. What I'm wondering, I know that there have been a lot of detractors and a lot of agents and things to lead us astray. What would our steps be now to bring that body politic together, to bring the let's say the honest or the true Moors together to start to create this?
Okay, good question, Moore. The first step again is in education. It's educating us about the history of the Moors. The second is always the unity of the uniting and the dialogue between those like-minded people. That's how the United Nations came into existence. These are like minds who've come together. Now, all of them have different agendas, of course. They want to further their own personal agendas. But all of them have a specific agenda and they've agreed about it. So the Moors haven't agreed about something. We're arguing about Dawiyd II, Dawiyd III, who's the true successor of the movement. Things that I understand what they're saying, but those are things that only stifle us. And those detractors, those agent provocateurs, I pray that you fall on the scimitar. Because it's because of what you've done that the movement has been paralyzed for this long and hasn't been able to live up to its highest level of its own potential. Unfortunately, the unity between a sheikh like the sheikdom here in the holy city of Mecca, the sheikdom in Atlantis proper, and those in Carbondale, those who are in California, the Khalifa state, where there's an executive rule out that way, the Grand Sheikh Lane Ill, Adonis Ill, in Baltimore, in New Jersey, in Asbury Park, where our brother Grand Sheikh Nation Il-Bey is, where brother Grand Sheikh Taj Sharif Bey is, and Michel Elohim Ali Il, and the great minds that are brewing there in Canaanland. All of us have to sit down at a round table and begin to talk and discuss about what this should look like and what we can do collectively to deal with the detractors. I won't even put on a video what should happen to the detractors. I'll just say I pray that they fall on the scimitar. But what we do is a matter of internal security to protect the movement. That's the most important thing. I want everybody, for your homework assignment, to go and watch this movie called
Kingdom of Heaven.
What is it more?
I think he was saying Kingdom of Heaven, but I don't think that's what it was it?
No, not that. It's got Matt Damon in it. It's about the birth of the CIA.
Oh, the Good Shepherd?
The Good Shepherd.
Yes.
I want to go to file sharing real quick. Go to file sharing.
I don't know how to do it. Is that him or you?
In conjunction with that question that you had about what is it that we need to do
I was thinking, I'm a little bit more, I guess you could say militant when it comes to stuff like that. Like,
Islam.
like I was thinking about how the Europeans took over the United States in the first place. And what they had was that they had delegates in each of their colonies. They had delegates that could talk for all the people of that colony. We don't necessarily have that here in Canaanland or in the United States. So the problem is that we're still so far apart from each other with no cooperation and no communication between each other.
And connectivity.
Right. So if we had the actual leaders in each state and each country that actually were able to sit down with one another and speak for the Moors that they are leading, and then come to one consensus. And everybody, even when the United States was formed, they all didn't agree that revolution was the answer. But majority of them thought revolution was the answer. So that's why they took it upon themselves to revolt against the king. If we don't have a consensus with the leaders, then we'll never ever move forward. So we need leadership that really understands what is necessary. Right now we have these old head leaders that don't want to do anything but sit on their hands.
Islam, exactly. What I feel is that as long as we have activity in a direction, that will result in something. Like you're saying, we're just standing around, and not to say that wasn't necessary at a point, but I think a little bit more sort of directed or focused activity is where we're at right now.
But see, you know what has to be done in some of these places, like in California, in Baltimore, in Detroit. The old heads that are leading those factions of Moors have to be overthrown.
Well,
it has to be some young Moors that step forward and say something has to be done.
Well, I think that once, like you say, let's say there's 15 regencies, for example. Let's say 7 or 8 of them come together and start making a move. I think that the energies will create that stuff that you're talking about. I have faith in that. I mean, you can talk about sort of the overthrow happening first, but I almost sense that it would be for certain people that may see a change need to be happen. They're afraid because they may look to let's say overthrow, but then what do they got? Right? So that could be part of, you know what, I see it being a two-pronged thing.
Yes, that's true. You got it? No, that's true.
But I think I think where you're right on this, that I think communication has to be the start. Like you say, I was talking with the Grand Sheik. They have council meetings here, even in our little regency, the so-called Toronto, what is it? What do we call it? The Corporation of Toronto. They're meeting all the time, talking about their stuff. All the time they're meeting and planning. We barely talk once every 6 months, let's say. How are we going to overthrow anything, or not overthrow? How are we going to come together unless we are talking and planning much more?
I agree.
Plus, that's their job.
But I mean, that should be our job.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a second. I'm close to it. 1 second.
I have one other question too. How do we then change? One of the brothers here was saying that, well, that's because they get paid to go do that, to meet and that stuff. And I thought to myself, we still have to, I think, continue to try to either undermine since it's our energy that creates the fiat, how do we then continue to, like the Prophet had, he had his manufacturing companies. we need to start bringing our energies back to ourselves so that we can take ourselves out of this system, right?
Absolutely. Or build a system that like the Chinese, they recognize, wait a minute, these people dropped a bomb on us. The Japanese, when they build a business infrastructure, they realized that, wait a minute, we can't militarily beat these people. They don't have a standing army in Japan. So what you have to understand is that they said, well, we can beat them financially. See, what Japan did was they realized, because after World War II, the United Nations and America told Germany, Italy, told Germany and Japan, let's not have a military. So Japan realized that the only other way to defeat the United States was to defeat them through commerce, defeat them through technology, defeat them through intelligence, because America are bullies. And they believe that they can fight everyone and destroy them, but in reality, Japan can destroy us easily by the technology and the intelligence that they create on a daily basis. So now technologically, we're behind the 8 ball. We got the big army, but a big army not going to beat you through commerce. Correct. So now America is losing the value of the dollar at a daily rate. Everything is going down when it comes to commerce, which America is built upon, commerce.
Well, I just wanted to interrupt because it was funny. I went to Japan last year, and I was telling some of the Moors here, you walked out there, 99% of the men were in a dress shirt and dress pants. 98% of them had watches on their hands. And what I realized, and the other part of it was they were all, as much as they may have had their issues, they were all focused on a goal. It was crazy. There were no police there, there were no birth certificates, and there was no fluoride in the water. And I realized this is what was going on, and this is why they are so powerful, because they are. And you didn't have to tell a Japanese person what to do; they knew what to do. You know. So you're completely right.
It's major technical difficulties. I can't find it. I don't know why.
Part 2.
That'll force us to do a part 2, yo.
That's cool. I'm gonna tell you what they said. In the movie, Matt Damon is sitting on a porch and he's talking to Joe Pesci, and he's like, Joe Pesci's an Italian gangster, so he's just like, what do y'all have? You got this, you got that. The niggas got this. Is their language. And then he looked at Matt Damon's character, who was the director of the CIA. He said, "What do you have? What do you Americans? What do you Europeans have?" He said, "We have America, sir." So y'all are just visiting. Y'all are just visiting is the actual word. So what I want you to, I'm going to look for the clip, and it's on my Facebook somewhere. I just didn't have time to look on Facebook for it. But Moors, I want you to know that we love you and we're here to support you any way that we can. If there are any more questions, we'll take them. But if not, we'll say peace and let you go to your families, man.
All right, fam. Well, give thanks for everything, that y'all doing, and give thanks for, giving us the light, because we're using that light to wake up a lot of people out here. And if you didn't know, we've been in contact with Moors in the Netherlands, Switzerland, UK, Netherlands, UK, the islands, Jamaica, Barbados, couple Moors in Brazil. So the word is definitely getting out.
Good, that's strong. We're very appreciative of the work that the Grand Sheikh and Governor Akujo was doing there in the Holy Land of Canaan. And we'll continue to support you with everything that we have, everything that I have and the Moors have here. We'll continue to support you. I pray that Allah, the great God of our fathers, continues to shower its blessings on all of us. And we continue to move forward. And we are not stopped by any detractors or any forces that seek to end our great movements. Because Noble Jolly said that Allah and Allah alone He says, "Our God in this nation."
Islam.
Islam. So family, I leave you as I came. May Allah, the great God, continue to bless us all. May Allah bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. This we ask in our holy names and the 7 Elohims. Peace and love, family.
Islam. Islam. Thank you.
Let's sign off now, boys.
All right, more peace and love.
All right, keep doing it.
Pray out.
Do I close out?
Oh boy, what's the oh boy?
I forgot the
You gotta address. You gotta address.
That's right.
Leave as you came, Mark.
5112 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Jawali.
Noble Jawali.
Islam.
Islam.
All right.